Hey, what is Boxing Day over there?
That's up in Canada. It's the day after Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah,
and maybe it's
also in Wales and England.
Wales and England?
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with a sport or a box?
I think it has to do with the English part of the church, the Protestant church.
I think it's where the dad has to go break down all the boxes and try to fit them in the trash can before trash.
By the way, that picture looks like
It is burn them now, by the way.
like we just go CG or what's it called? The AI?
AI.
Just get AI, and it's if you can pop it back up, Tyler, it looks like it's AI, and it's like, show me a European female soccer player standing in front of a dental diagram showing decay and cavities in teeth and how to brush.
That's a deep AI right there.
Look,
I see what you're saying.
It looks like she's standing in front of teeth.
I do see what you're saying. So you burn the Christmas boxes in your fireplace and the fire pit?
Fire pit out
in the
back,
fire pit?
yeah.
So illegal, but okay.
Why is that illegal?
Not supposed to burn trash in your property.
In Shelby County?
That's not true.
Is that a Shelby County law?
That's only if there's if we're in the middle of a dry spell.
You're on he's like me. He's unincorporated Shelby County.
I know,
so we
I
got
think-
fewer laws.
I think it's the Shelby County law, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know a commissioner. Let me know. I know a Shelby County.
Well,
commissioner.
I'd like to know the truth
She's
too.
going to throw you in jail.
Yeah, I know.
But you're in City of Hoover, aren't you?
Probably. I don't
You weren't
know.
before. You weren't
I
before.
don't. I was unincorporated before, and I was always told you could not burn trash.
Well, I mean, I figure if you can build an above-ground pool in my neighborhood, you can burn trash.
That is true.
I think that's fair, right?
I've got a stricter HOA than you do, apparently.
Yeah, no, much stricter.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was arrested at her home, admitted to sending the videos, given a 12-month community order for fines. According to prosecutor Diane Williams, quote, she suggested she wanted to send videos because she felt her partner was being treated unfairly. It was purely malicious. She was smirking throughout, found it hilarious, but the victim did not. Probation officers said she had been in a relationship for 2 years and there was, quote, bad blood with her boyfriend's ex-partner. This is such a weird story.
That is a
People are
very odd
weirdos.
story. Very odd story. Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's good trash.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, hey, they are your mortgage experts. No cost or obligation to find out what you might qualify for, whether you're looking for your first home or final home. These are the mortgage experts, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
All right. Super Bowl coming up a week from Sunday. Saquon Barkley, I saw a headline that said, can Saquon Barkley be stopped? What is stopping Saquon Barkley in this game for the Chiefs? Anything that you win the game, I know, is the goal, but what is slowing down Saquon Barkley in your opinion?
Well, look, I mean, you can slow him down, but he's a home run hitter. And, I go back to the divisional game against the Rams, and, they held him in check, and then it was 2 long runs. And the same with the Redskins or the Commanders. And, Steve Spagnuolo, I do have a lot of confidence in him. I think this Chiefs defense is really good. But Kellen Moore is the focus is going to be running the football. You heard Furman talk about how Kansas City has struggled with the tight ends. I do think it is fascinating that they've struggled with the tight ends, and it's like Kellen Moore gave so much Dallas Goedert, so many different targets in the NFC Championship game. Do you go back to that well, where you've got the quick hitters that gave Jalen Hurts a lot of confidence? He was very, very efficient. And then you just mix it up running the football with Saquon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can stop Saquon right now.
I would say Saquon better have a big game because Spagnuolo likes to blitz so much, as you know. And if that blitz keeps getting home, that is, Jalen Hurts having to deal with that the entire game.
Yeah.
You can't slow it down with a run.
How old do you think Saquon Barkley is?
28.
28 is probably the number.
He is 27. He'll be 28 when the game kicks off. Super Bowl Sunday's his birthday.
Now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out. Flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat. And please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season. As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, new show live on a Monday now. A lot to get to. We'll eventually get to basketball. Will Auburn probably, or maybe, it was definitely their best road win, maybe their most impressive win to date as the number one team in the country. We'll get to a crazy weekend in college basketball coming up. It is Super Bowl week. We'll kick off Super Bowl conversation, post-Senior Bowl and Shrine Game, some thoughts on Jalen Milroe and the upcoming NFL Draft. But we start with Reunited, and it feels so good.
Can you name the group?
That was Peaches and Herb. Herb. I always used to do that.
You're kind of close on that one. That was Sills and Croft, right? Or was it Peaches and
I
Herb?
thought it was Peaches and Herb.
Was it Peaches and Herb?
I'm pretty sure it was.
My
Sills
bad.
and Croft.
You were. Well, I knew it was something and something, not Simon and Garfunkel.
But Ryan Grubb, who now, it was February the 7th when I had video of him standing at the zone saying, "I'm your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, almost a year ago to the date, really.
Yeah.
And just
now,
short of a year.
It happened yesterday. 360 days later, he is back as the offensive coordinator, according to reports, including the fine folks at Yale, Alabama.
I would think they would know.
They should know.
Yes.
They should know Ryan Grubb is going to reunite with Kalen DeBoer, and this has Alabama fans extremely excited.
Well, it should be. This is a guy that has so much familiarity, that coached with Kalen DeBoer for so long, and you thought, when all of these guys were coming back, that you were getting the whole band, so to speak. And we'll talk to Brock Huard later in the show, and he's, got a relationship with Ryan Grubb. But, he doesn't come over. Nick Sheridan gets his first opportunity, and there were ups and downs for Nick Sheridan, much like there was for the quarterback and Jalen Milroe. But if you're an Alabama fan, you've got to be excited, because I know it's not apples to oranges going from the Pac-12 to the SEC, but you just look at the numbers his last 2 years, or his only 2 years in Washington, and how kind of inconsistent the offense was this year in Tuscaloosa. And look, again, Nick Sheridan didn't do a bad job, and I know there's going to be a place on this staff for Nick Sheridan.
Yeah, I want to say that right there. I don't know if it was I don't think it was a Nick Sheridan problem. I just think you had an inconsistent quarterback, and an inconsistent quarterback is going to make you look like an inconsistent offensive coordinator.
Well, and I think when you're a first-year play caller, how much of the offense was Nick Sheridan, so there's going to be some growing pains. And I think there was that, especially when you have an inconsistent quarterback in Jalen Milroe.
There are some suggesting that there were some self-scouting issues late in the year that might have affected Jalen Milroe's play as well, and that, could be potentially pinned on an inexperienced offensive coordinator. Though your head coach, obviously, who's an offensive guy, has to help in that too. I mean, he's got to shoulder some of that blame.
He is top-notch offensive-minded head coach. He's got to be involved in that too. So, again, Nick Sheridan, I don't throw him out with the bathwater. Future as an offensive coordinator somewhere, or his contribution to this Alabama staff next year.
And what often gets forgotten is that Jamarcus Shepard is also a co-offensive coordinator. So, you had two guys that had the offensive coordinator title, and all the reports said Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator. He's not coming back to be a position coach, obviously. And everybody assumes if he comes back, he's going to be your primary play caller.
I go strictly White Claw there.
No laws?
There's no laws.
Yeah, just go three offensive coordinators. So there's no reason you can't.
Hi, I'm Ryan Grubb, co-offensive coordinator. I'm Nick Sheridan, co-offensive coordinator.
I don't know if they're going to do that.
Co-offensive coordinator.
Yeah, which one is your coordinator?
I will tell you, these guys aren't going to take a pay cut.
Yeah, no, nobody is. Nobody is. Assistant head coach, and he calls plays. I don't care what you call him.
Yeah, associate head coach, whatever the title is really irrelevant as long as he's calling the right plays. And that's the whole thing. I don't know if Ryan Grubb is a great offensive coordinator. He obviously was not with the Seattle Seahawks, but in the NFL, it is a little bit different than in the college game when you get on the wrong side of quarterback and talent.
Truthfully, you go look at those offensive numbers with the Seahawks. He's got Geno Smith as his quarterback.
Exactly, that was my point.
And he was middle of the pack.
I think they were.
Half,
I think the problem was 16. They were like 28th in the run.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Is there was a difference in philosophy. Mike McDonald wanted to run the football more.
Yeah. So I say all that to say, though, he's a trusted Kalen DeBoer offensive coordinator, and that's what matters most to Alabama fans. And his numbers along the way with Kalen DeBoer have shown that the guy is a productive offensive coordinator. And you've got the guy back that you're probably, the three of us have been together so long,
That's right.
You can stop a sentence and Lance and I can finish it, and we can all do that for each other. And I imagine that's the way DeBoer and Grubb are, is that if DeBoer's thinking it, Grubb was probably already thinking it.
Yeah, Sioux Falls, they were together, Eastern Michigan together, Fresno together, Washington together, and now in Tuscaloosa. What is crazy, this is 3 is the magic number. We learned that with Schoolhouse Rock back when I was a kid.
Yep.
The third time Alabama offers him, he accepts the job. Nick Saban tried to make him his last offensive coordinator. He turned him down. Last year, Kalen DeBoer brought him for a couple of days, and then he went to the Seahawks. And on the third time, not thrice denied, he is the Alabama offensive coordinator, finally coming to town.
Figured this was going to happen for a while. Him and his wife have been looking for houses in the Tuscaloosa area, and I don't know exactly why it took so long to put this thing together.
I told Conor O'Gara when he asked me about it, I said, keep in mind, he didn't leave until after National Signing Day last year. He made it through signing day. He came and helped Kalen DeBoer, throw together the correct recruiting class, keep some people in the offensive room, and then he left after National Signing Day. I said, this may not happen until you get to signing day, just not to rock the recruiting boat or anything.
Yeah.
And it happens a few days before the National Signing Day. So the timing didn't surprise me. Brown, listen to this and finish your thought here. This is actually Kalen DeBoer, cut number 9, Tyler. Kalen DeBoer down at Senior Bowl last week in Mobile from our friends at Fox 10 News down there in that area, talking to the media there about Ryan Grubb. He gets asked about that, and you listen, you tell me if, as LT says, if he didn't already know it was coming, it was happening.
Well, man, we go way back, so great friend of mine, and think the world of him as a football coach, obviously as a person too. And so I know he's working through his process, just kind of after what last season brought. And so, just kind of seeing what he does there, and here for him whenever he needs me. That's always going to be the case.
Yeah, he's working through his process. Finding a house. I'm going to be here whenever he needs me. I've already offered him the job.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read between the lines a week later, it's basically what he was saying.
Well, a couple things from the chat room. Number one, a lot of people were like, I guess he was, and I think this is what we all thought, he was just waiting out the NFL hiring process. See, what happens with a Raiders offensive coordinator job. More on that in a moment. See what happens with the Saints, see what happens with the Cowboys. And if you really want to stay in the NFL, see if any of that opens a door for you. And I'm sure as those hires started, he was like, yeah, it's probably not going to work for me, not going to work for me. So then you come back to Alabama. Chris says in the chat room, you guys keep forgetting that Grubb had Penix. Bama doesn't have Penix on the roster.
Oh, no, I don't forget that.
No, but I will make the point. When Grubb got Penix was not a draftable NFL quarterback.
No, Penix was battling injuries. Yeah. There were big inconsistencies with Penix.
Yeah, you got to credit Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, whoever you want, Nick Sheridan, whoever. They took a beleaguered and battered Penix and molded him back into the NFL quarterback.
I would. Who said that? Michael?
Chris.
Chris in the chat room. I'd say Chris also. They also don't have the 3 wide receivers that they had at Washington to go with Michael Penix. So you got Ryan Williams. You got a pretty, I think, an upside Jeremy Bernard back. And then you got Isaiah Horton coming in from Miami. So it looks good on paper. But, part of that dynamic offense they had at Washington was 3 really, really good wide receivers and a really good quarterback.
Was your guy that was head and shoulders above everybody. Jalen Polk was kind of the outlier that nobody talks about, and then Jalen McMillan was really that third option who's been so good the last quarter part of the NFL season for your Tampa Bay Bucks this year.
I mean, if you ask me right now, you had to keep one, Mike Evans or McMillan. Mike's been the greatest Buck of all time in my opinion, but he's only got days left in his career. The other guy's a huge upside. I'd want McMillan because he's only played 1 year. The guy's a stud. He gets open.
Yeah, I think Alabama fans were excited, 3 weeks ago when this came up, and then it kind of died out. And I think it was kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then when it got reignited, Alabama fans got to be excited about this move. Have to be.
Okay, we'll talk to Brock Huard, who will join us from out west, knows the Seattle market, knows Kalen DeBoer, knows Ryan Grubb. As LT said, they're friends. And he will break down what Ryan Grubb means to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and everything that's gone on in Grubb's career. That'll be at around 12 noon, 12:10, a little after. So extended show today. We'll go a little overtime until we finish with Brock Huard coming up slightly at the end of the show today. So don't bounce away at 12 noon to go grab lunch. Hang around with us afterwards. That'll be live with Brock Huard coming up a little bit later on. Basketball in just a second. But Hemphill brings you the lock every day, lanceslock.com. And it was another upset Saturday in college basketball. You can tell us what you didn't do. I don't care. I want to throw this facts out about how crazy it was. If you just like to play chalk like I do, ranked teams versus unranked teams. 11 ranked teams lost on Saturday, 10 to teams that were lower ranked or unranked. 8 top 15 lost. 5 of those top 15 teams lost at home. 3 of the top 10 that lost at home this weekend. I mean, home court's huge. Ranked home court against unranked, huge. And there were still upsets everywhere. It was a crazy upset Saturday everywhere in college basketball. You can get your plays tonight. Couple of struggling Iowa State and Kansas play tonight.
What a weird game.
Somebody needs a win.
And that was the one that jumped out was Iowa State in Ames. That lost to Kansas State. Just getting completely blown away.
29 straight home wins there.
And they lost 2 games last week. I mean, Iowa State had a rough week of basketball.
When you talk Iowa State, Kansas blew the largest lead in program history to lose.
Yeah, Kansas, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks. They seem a little off. That really showed this past weekend. Another winning weekend at Lance's Lock, another winning Saturday at lanceslock.com. Jump on board, win with us. Free play every single day. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham's trust since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. If you experience any of these in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
All right, Tyler, give me cut 2, because before we talk about the Auburn win at Ole Miss, I think Dylan Cardwell's comments maybe summed it up, because I had circled this game, even the way Ole Miss was playing with Chris Beard's defense. I had circled this as the first one in a while that I thought Auburn could lose the basketball game, and I expected them to lose the game. And even if they won the game, I didn't expect them to score 41 in the first half and then 51 in the second half. Dylan Cardwell on the mental makeup of this Auburn team, and then Brown's going to tell us how he thinks maybe it was the most impressive Auburn win of the year. Here's Dylan.
Well, yeah, VP recruited some killers, man. We got some guys that ain't right in the head. To Huard and CB, they love a hostile environment, and I've never seen a group of guys embrace this. Like, it seems that sometimes we'd rather play on the road. It's just more enticing. We love our fans. We love having witnesses in the stadium. But sometimes on the road, these guys just get going. Like Miles Kelly, he hits big threes. Denver Jones gets going. Everybody just gets going on the road. And it's just this is the first team I've really been on in my whole life where it's these guys embrace the toughness. And that was kind of our MO heading into the season, just embrace the schedule that we have in front of us.
Not right in the head.
That's pretty good right there.
Some killers there. And they walked into Oxford and they handled that Chris Beard defense with ease. One extra pass. It seemed like every big three they hit, they had that one extra pass, Brownie, and it was impressive.
It was. Here's the reason I would say this might be Auburn's most impressive win of the year. And look, I get that they beat Iowa State in Maui. I get that they beat Houston in a quote-unquote neutral site. But Lance, to score 92 on the road against that Chris Beard defense, 92. I don't know what you thought Auburn would score in that game. I was thinking Auburn would win this game in a low 60s type game, 68, 64.
Yeah, I could see Auburn do what Ole Miss and score 82, break into the low 80s.
92 on the road, not in Neville, but on the road against that Chris Beard defense. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and all 5 starters scored double figures. Not only, so efficient shooting the basketball, it over 48% and 50% behind the arc, but also dominated the boards 41-30.
Yeah.
To me, that's what separates this Auburn team from the rest of the country right now. We talk about the guard play with Pettiford and Miles and Denver and Chad Baker-Mazara, and they, great shooting day, 14 threes. But they, in this game in particular, but they are more physical inside than they get credit for. Broom gets the reputation. He can be physical, but I think he also, he's such a good scorer and such a good finesse guy with the basketball. You forget how physical of a defender he is too. he and Cardwell down low and what they bringing off the bench, what Chad Baker-Mazara does, I think Auburn maybe is the most physical team in the country when it comes to their defense. And there are people that wait. There are people going to hang on you and foul you, and you've got to have a
so Houston and Tennessee is
you've got to have a specific officiating crew for that to work for Rick Barnes and Kelvin Sampson and those guys. I think and the ability to play with whatever officiating crew you have is the physicality of Auburn that gives them a chance to win the national championship.
Maybe so, because you keep looking for teams that can run some big guys at Broome and Cardwell and get them off their game, and really nobody's been able to do that. I mean, who's done that all year? Who's just come in and said, hey, we've got the big guys that can play with Broome and Cardwell, and you're going to have to win this game from the perimeter. You haven't really seen that, anybody that's able to do that against Auburn.
Look, I know it's apples to oranges, but Auburn 8-1 against ranked teams this year.
Yeah.
1 loss in Cameron.
Yeah, 13 quality Q1 wins. They're chasing down the record that UConn set last year, which I think is 17. I should remember that number. We talk about it every week.
What do you mean it's apples to oranges?
Well, I mean, it's just it's not fair. Like, let's take a James Franklin. Does James Franklin have 8 ranked wins in his career? That's what I'm saying. Like,
you're right. You don't get that many opportunities. In
I see what you're saying.
Basketball.
You play a lot more ranked games of basketball.
And I think Alabama's already got what, 6 or 7?
7. Yeah, 7 against ranked. And I think that's all they play down the stretch. Their final 9 games is a blistering schedule for Alabama. More on them in a second. But for this Auburn team, 2 games at home this week. That's just it. They've already won 5 SEC road games. They're 5-0 on the road to the SEC. They've only got 4 more SEC road games.
Yeah, what I said last week or 2 weeks ago, I thought they only had 3 more losable games. Ole Miss was one of those losable games.
All right, so it's 10-2 now.
Yeah, so I really think, in Tuscaloosa, and I still would go 3 because in Rupp, and then in College Station.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make that argument after Arkansas just won in Rupp, but I get what you're saying.
But I'm saying those are 3 losable games. I would be shocked if they lost 2 of the 3. So, I mean, you start looking at this, Auburn might have a loss or 2 coming up, and then maybe a loss in Nashville in the SEC tournament.
And by the way, if that's all they have the rest of the way,
maybe the number 1 overall seed.
They'll stay the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament because of their resume and the wins they have. Could not be better for Auburn right now. They are Tuesday night at home to Oklahoma, then Saturday at home against the Florida Gators,
who's a bad road team.
More on that in a second.
Yeah.
Alabama and Georgia. Alabama doesn't play another home game until Auburn comes to town. So we're to that point now where Alabama doesn't have a midweek game. Then they're on the road at Arkansas, on the road at Texas, and then here comes Auburn on February 15th for a Crimson out over at Coleman Coliseum. Alabama, Brownie, finally played a good game at home after a great road win. They've been so good on the road, and then they would come home and either slop it up or struggle or lose to Ole Miss. But they went on the road, beat a good Mississippi State team. That was a good win. I don't care what Missouri did to Mississippi State. It was a good win for Bama and a big game. And then they came home, and for about a 3-minute period there in the second half, about 12 minutes to 8 minutes, somewhere in some change there, about 3 minutes, I thought Alabama played their best basketball of the year.
So in the second half, there was that little run?
Defense was good. Scoring was good. About a 3-minute mark there. I thought that was the best Alabama could play. Defense, some good signs there, and the big win over Georgia.
Yeah, 90-69. This is a Georgia team that the record is what it is. I think everybody thinks Georgia's better than 3-6 in the conference and 15-7 overall, but that is their record.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've lost 5 of 6.
I know. I mean, I think they are, but I don't know. But that's the way you're supposed to beat a team that's 3-6 in the conference and 15-7 overall.
They didn't let their guy Asa Newell really. I mean, he hit his averages, but he didn't really take over the game.
Well, he needed more than 16 points for them to win in Coleman. That's for dang sure, and that's what he got. So
the crazy thing is Georgia has 76 attempts from the field, 19 more attempts than Alabama. When do you see a team attempt 19 more shots and lose the game by 21?
Yeah,
I mean,
when you're 4 of 23 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, that's nearly impossible, though.
Yeah, there were some offensive rebounds early on for Georgia in that one. Cut forward, Tyler. Give me Nate Oates here. This is what Nate said after the game on Saturday, and I was in the room when he said this. And this guy who has been coaching this team about as hard as I've seen anybody coach a good team before. I mean, he is on these guys every second. It seems like that they're awake. Here's Nate Oates after this contest.
Unbelievable effort from our guys. Really the effort we've been looking for outside of the start to the second half. You take that 4 minutes out, which I wasn't very happy with that effort. But the other 36 minutes, I thought we played, really hard, out-rebounded a really good team by 16. Still scored 20 even though we had 20 turnovers. Now we got to fix the turnovers. Obviously, it's a major problem, and 12 of those 20 were from 3 of our fifth-year seniors, which shouldn't be the case. But I thought those guys kind of set the tone. I thought this was the hardest Sears has played. And I told him it's good to see. I thought he had some turnovers. He sprinted back, made tough plays on D. Didn't sulk, didn't pout. His leadership, the effort he gave tonight, I think really helped set the tone for how the team's supposed to look.
Back-to-back games where he specifically called Sears out after the second half benching
and then uses the adjectives.
Yeah, sulk and pout. I mean, clearly the message was received, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Nate Oates is telling you that.
And look, he did clean up the turnovers from what you saw back on Wednesday night to what you saw on Saturday. I want to bring up one guy because I did have some passenger seat time yesterday, and I went back and looked at LeBaron Philon, and this is a guy that I think is maybe the most talented guy, the most upside on anybody on the roster. But over the last 7 games, and I don't want to say he's been buried into, out of the starting lineup now coming off the bench, but he's 13 of 53 his last 7 games. He has as many turnovers, 13, than he has field goals made over his last 7 games. So it's hard to believe that he's hit a wall this early.
Great observation by you. More on that on the new basketball show that's out, because that's same thing popped for me, LT. And I think you can use that as an encouraging sign for Alabama if he can find what he is capable of doing, because NBA scouts will tell you that kid is very, very has a huge upside.
Oh, huge upside. And then, Diabate, as good as he's been, he's maximizing his few minutes. Diabate, 11 minutes, had 6 points and 6 rebounds in 11 minutes.
Yeah, that guy always throws the sweat on the floor.
And when we were, and you see Nate Oates giving out the hard hat if you're watching this on video, when we had Nate Oates on the show, did you not ask him about more minutes for Chris Youngblood? Did you ask that question?
Yeah, well, I just said, should we expect him to be back in the starting lineup moving forward?
I think the answer is yes now. I mean, he had only Sears had more minutes than Youngblood. Youngblood with 27 minutes of the game, scored 10, which is not the same
very
night he
efficient, only 5 attempts.
That's right. Not the same night he had in Starkville, but still exactly what you want out of him.
Yeah, and Jaron Stevenson, by the way, 2 of 2. Took 2 shots, hit them both if he could get shooting. Go check out the new basketball show. It's on all our video platforms. More basketball from what we saw this weekend, because there's 2 other things we have to talk about. Well, maybe more than 2 in this opening segment. Urology Centers of Alabama brings you the show. 16 locations in Alabama. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Please go check it out. Treat all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, and anything else there. Visit UrologyCentersAlabama.com to schedule an appointment. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Tyler, I'll give you a second to give me cut number 7. I want to talk about John Calipari going back to Kentucky. Walking in there. I mean, they played up the booing and everything. There were some boos. There were some cheers, but I don't think either one was overwhelming.
No, I watched it from a couple of different angles. People on the floor, as he came in, the SEC Network basically had the Steadicam on him, and you could hear boos, but it wasn't like a terrible.
And maybe the boos were people that didn't realize that Rick Pitino was such a good buddy of his. Right?
but I mean, Pitino likes him. I hate him.
I mean, it was not overwhelming. I mean, booing like you would get the normal visiting coach for a big game coming in.
That was a look, one-off. They've had a really good season, but that was a bad loss for Pope.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there is no way you could sit there and look at what we have seen from that Arkansas team, take Boogie Flan away, go on the road into Kentucky with what Calipari took in there, and expect them to win the basketball game. That was there are several things I wrote down as shocking to me on Saturday. That's top of my list.
Well, to lose that game by double digits, because it's not like Arkansas is going to catch you off guard. I understand they were 1-6 in conference play coming into that game, but that makes, to me, it's even more magnified. Like, we can't lose to this team.
And you know what really stands out is we didn't talk enough about it. Not only was Calipari going back, three former Kentucky players.
Two looting scores.
Yeah, three former Kentucky players going back in an Arkansas uniform. Those 3 players combined for 52 points. So they went back, and all those boos and stuff, they were familiar shooting in Rupp Arena, and it looked like it.
And I saw Calipari in the post game in the locker room, like, hey, great job out of Lance. This was for Lance and for Jim, and he went through all those former Kentucky players, and then I don't know if somebody in the back said it for you, and for me, and everybody goes crazy. I mean, it was standard Calipari.
No, I don't mean to be.
But I mean, everybody went nuts, and I mean, you're right. If you're Mark Pope, that's Alabama coming in and beating you. You can, if you're a Kentucky fan, Lance, you're like, okay, that's one of the best teams in the country.
Here's John Calipari after the win at Rupp Arena.
No, I don't mean to be funny in saying this. Honest question. You used to always say that, this was everyone's Super Bowl. Playing against Kentucky, they hit shots against Kentucky. They don't hit against other teams. Is that kind of what happened tonight? You guys just was this your Super Bowl?
Maybe, but you won't believe this. Adu says it seems like we're still everybody's Super Bowl when we play. We have teams making shots, bank shots, doing stuff. We're like, what in the world just happened? So, yeah, I would say this was, look, it's not like we said, pointed to this game. We didn't. We just are trying to win. Now we're going on to the next game. We got Sunday off. Yeah, but we're getting home at 1:30 or 2. We practice Monday, Tuesday, and travel and go to Texas. That's easy. I mean, this doesn't end.
Yeah. And then, by the way, Alabama goes to Fayetteville. That's Alabama's next game.
I know we're all a little bit of selfish, but the world revolves around John Calipari.
It really does.
I mean, for him to say that, hey, we're still people's Super Bowl.
People hit bank shots against us. How'd that go in? Yeah, come on, guys.
We got Sunday off, but we don't get up until 2 in the morning, and then we got to practice.
Yeah.
And then we got to practice again.
Then we got to play a road
Then we got to travel.
Oh my God.
What's going to get obnoxious though is if they do start playing like they played on Saturday, then we're going to hear him campaigning the hell out of Arkansas getting into the tournament, because you've got, big time resume games coming up in Austin. Then they host Alabama. They've still got to go to College Station. They've got to go to Auburn. They've got Missouri. They've got Texas coming back in.
The schedule's there. If they
could turn this thing around. They've got to win basically 2 out of every 3 games.
47th in the net right now, so they have got work to do. That's deep in the net for you to be making the NCAA tournament as an at-large. That's deep.
But who's the scarier team right now, Arkansas or Georgia?
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's hard to say Georgia.
Mainly because Auburn and Alabama have already played Georgia, so they don't have to worry about them. They still got to play Arkansas. No, it's scary. It's scary. Arkansas is a scary team. You tell me Zakai Ziegler's not playing. Never would have thought Tennessee would have beat Florida by 20.
That's only a 50-point turnaround from what it was in Gainesville.
I gave out Tennessee on Saturday, and it was originally.
Did you know Ziegler wasn't playing when you gave it out?
When I gave it out, I thought there was a possibility he might not play, but I didn't know Milicic and Ziegler both weren't going to play.
That's right.
And the number only went from 5.5 to 3.
Yeah.
But I told people, hold with it.
Yeah, and it worked. A 20-point win for Tennessee. And then it's time for it's really becoming our favorite Monday thing. Our Hurley family moment of the day. Cut number 8, if I can, Tyler. We got some video, don't we, Forrester? It's Arizona State. There's smack talking and headbutting and everything goes on there. And then this is Bobby Hurley pulling Arizona State off as the whistle blows. And no handshakes at home there. Sort of waves off Arizona. We're not going to shake hands after what was a heated game in which Arizona won there. And then Caleb Love talked some crap, scored 27. There was a headbutting, double ejection there. I don't really understand why Caleb Love got ejected there.
I really didn't either when I watched the replay on that. I don't know what he did.
You say some things, but then you get headbutted. The headbutting guy's got to go.
Yeah, and he stumbles back, and it's not like he punched the guy or anything.
Yeah, and then afterwards, Bobby Hurley, it's just a family tradition. Here's Bobby Hurley.
Well, it was, if you were right near our bench, it was relentless, constant chatter, from a couple of the Arizona players that was not being policed properly. And of course they're going to be happy with winning, but it was done with no class, in my opinion. And words that were said back and forth led, to the moment where Freeman, lost it and lost his cool because of the constant talk that was allowed to go on. So, I had to make a tough decision to, to obviously, in the best interest of our team, to get them into the locker room so there'd be no further incidents the rest of the game. And in the handshake line. But that's about it. That's all I got. I'll turn it over to Adam. I can tell you this. I do get a vote for the for all conference, and I can tell you who's not getting a vote.
That was the bad part there. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to think of a pair of brothers
that are less likable than the Hurleys.
Yeah. I mean, the Kelseys, maybe.
I love the Kelsey
Paul
brothers.
The Paul brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never really had a strong opinion on the Paul brothers.
Yeah. I mean, I give the Paul brothers a lot of credit just because they market themselves so well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think for the masses, I think there's a lot of people that don't like them.
They used to be insufferable.
Was that when they were just influencers?
Just starting out?
They were just YouTubers and former Disney stars.
It's interesting because the Kelseys used to not be insufferable until they became influencers.
I don't understand. The Kelseys promote themselves. The Pauls promote themselves. And why do you hate the Kelseys?
No, I'm just saying the Pauls are a much more incredible story when you basically come from really nothing into what they've created, where Jake Paul can play us nonstop into baiting us again into buying this Tyson fight.
Yeah,
I mean, they're geniuses.
That's the reason I can't stand the Pauls, is that he baited me into watching that Tyson fight. I mean, I'd already paid for Netflix, so I didn't have to pay. What?
I said, what a waste of time.
No, it was a complete waste of time.
And everybody did it.
Yeah,
both,
both Kelsey. We didn't have
numbers.
to pay for the Tyson fight. It was on.
Well, if you'd already paid for Netflix, that's what I'm saying. I've already paid for it. I just wasted time watching it.
Both Kelsey brothers will be Hall of Famers, right?
Jason, absolutely.
Both
Jason's one of the best centers ever to play the game. I would say this.
Yeah, Jason's less obnoxious than Travis.
I like Jason. Travis bothers me a little. I like Jason. When I saw this unfold, I had not watched this game. I just assumed this was in Tucson. The most embarrassing part of this is this happened at your place.
Yeah.
You allowed a team to come in and affect you this way at your place. You wouldn't shake hands in the handshake line at your place. You're not playing in Tucson.
And listen, I think you should police the crap talking sometimes.
Yeah.
But it never leads to a headbutt.
No, I mean he's blaming the officials.
You don't see that a lot.
You basically blame the officials for his guy headbutting a guy.
Meanwhile, you go to the Wake Forest Louisville game, and a kid dunks and basically just gives me one of these right in the guy he dunked on's face. But he's probably as far away from the guy as I am from Lance after he dunked, and he gives me one of these, some kind of motion to his head or his muscle, whatever he did. He gestured at him. It was nothing obscene, and they tee him up, and it's his second technical. He's ejected from the game. And I don't understand how you can have crap talking that leads to a headbutt, and then I get ejected for just celebrating a dunk this far away from you.
Hey, and I'll be honest with you, like Bobby Hurley, obviously a much, much, much better player than coach. But these are the things that get magnified for people to take a look at the job you're not doing. And, when does it get to a point where he loses his job? Because Arizona State is not a bad basketball job. Bill Frieder obviously didn't accomplish what he accomplished at Michigan, but he was a traditional year in, year out, go to the NCAA tournament coach in Tempe.
And when Hurley left Buffalo to go there, we thought this was going to be a big get for Arizona
State.
State.
So it's crazy how many years have gone by. You know how many years he's been at Arizona State?
Well, Nate Oates has coached his entire time at Buffalo.
Yeah, replacing him.
And now he's been at Alabama and won trip to the Final Four, one seed disappointment.
I was going to say 8 years. He's been 8 years at State.
It was going to be my guess, too.
Okay, so
he's in year 8.
He's in year 10.
Wow.
And he had 2 years as the head guy at Buffalo. In 10 years in Tempe, how many NCAA tournament games do you think he's won?
One?
He coached one in Dayton.
He did, yeah.
And he won that one.
I think he won that one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that may be it. That counts as a tournament win, yeah.
I'm going to say he's got 2.
He's got 0.
So he didn't win the one in Dayton.
Yeah, and then if you go back to his 2 years at Buffalo, he's got 0. He's never won a tournament game.
How many non-Dayton tournament trips does he have? Do you have that?
But yeah, so non-Dayton, 1 year in Buffalo, his second year when they went 23-10, one and done. And then first 4, one and done at 17-18, his third year at Arizona State. The next year they get into the regular field and lose in the first round. And then 3 years off back in 2022-23, one and done. So they've been to the tournament 3 times in 10 years.
One of those was Dayton.
So I know Nate took over for him in Buffalo, but Nate did a better job in Buffalo than Hurley did.
Yeah, he advanced in a tournament in Buffalo, I believe.
Couple of times.
He whipped Arizona.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Something Hurley.
Yeah, something Hurley
this
can't
weekend.
do. Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, do you guys not agree that It's one thing if you're doing a very, very average job, but when you do an average job and you have comments like that, I got to vote. You know who's not getting a vote?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, damn, we're paying you a lot of money, and you never won a tournament game.
When you allow your rival to punk you on your own floor, that's where if I'm a big time booster, I'm like, how are we letting this happen?
Iowa State, Kansas tonight, 8 o'clock ESPN. Downtown at Bartow, North Texas, UAB. North Texas and UAB in a big American game. And do you know who leads Conference USA?
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State by themselves beat Liberty this weekend. They are first place in Conference USA. Right. So Jack State, Samford, Alabama, Auburn. If UAB wins the American, Troy, I think, is near the top if they're not leading the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
I mean, could we be a 6-bid state?
UAB's going to have to figure out Memphis. Memphis beat them pretty bad up there. They get a return trip. They got North Texas tonight. That's a big game for them.
It's a huge game. North Texas is probably the second best team in the league other than Memphis. So that's 8 o'clock down at Bartow Arena. All right, that's the opening segment. We got Ryan Grubb there. We got a lot of basketball there. We'll set the table for some other college football news coming up, including our man Matt Rhule, who is going on the portal. He's like, I got an idea, and we'll see if this catches on. The folks at ESPN probably would be like, I don't want this to catch on, or the Big Ten Network or the SEC Network. All that's coming up. Show brought to you by Dr. B, the guy that's made LT's hair go.
Dr. B, best in the business. So you've been thinning out. You're trying to be preemptive. You want to maintain what you've got. You want to grow some back. Our man, Dr. B, the T3. They've got a new test. So easy, painless, affordable. Takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show you which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories of agents they can use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical form. You pick and choose which agents that you actually want. Men and women ordering Hims and other products online don't even know if they work. Dr. B has been using this test for over 3 years with amazing results. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work for you. Very simple. Call 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, you can always go online. Go to t3hair.net.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Back with you on the Next Round. The biggest story in the country, away from important college football news, more than the Super Bowl so far, more than the great college basketball.
Most surprising trade in the history of sports
is Luka being traded. But LT, if you're the Mavericks, everyone's killing the Mavericks for this trade.
Yep.
If you're the Mavericks, obviously he is only 25 years old. He'll be 26 soon. He's never played more than 72 games, though. He's injured. His weight got up to 260 pounds this season. He's listed at 230. He has my body at times.
Yeah.
He scores a lot, but does he play a lot of defense? Is he the kind of guy you can really win with? If he is your 1A player, can you really win with him? And if they don't,
can you really win with him? He took them to the finals last year.
I'm saying where he is going in his career. Because next year...
I'm really close to watching the Lakers again. I just wish it would have been LeBron, Bronny, and 2 ones that would have gone instead of Anthony Davis.
But away from you, for the Mavericks here, the max deal, $345 million, 5 years, is what they'd have to pay him next year.
Yeah, well, he's worth it.
And $216 million 4 years now is all the Lakers will have to pay him
so
next
he's going to lose about $110 million because he's not going to be eligible for that Supermax deal. But Nico Harrison basically said, hey, look, we're not going to win a championship unless we get better defensively. So he took a shot at Luka on the way out. Yeah. And Anthony Davis is one of the best two-way players we've ever seen.
They also leaked his weight.
Oh, yeah.
Leaked out a couple weeks ago.
There was some damage there.
But, people have been talking about that for years. Like, he's just kind of a chubby kid that's never, seems to be in shape. But, he's just one of these old-school throwbacks that he is. I remember when Kobe Bryant gave up Sour Patch Kids. And that was part of it. I've got to get serious about my career. And
so he gave up the candy to get in better shape.
Yeah, okay. A lot of these guys, I've seen it over the years. I think LeBron did it too. If you want to really extend your career, you've got to get more into conditioning. And maybe because LeBron, as much as I dislike LeBron, he really is dedicated to his craft. So maybe that's part of it. You get him... you get him involved with a guy like LeBron that's like, hey, look, if you really want to be one of the best ever, you have got to get your diet in check. So and it wasn't happening in Dallas.
So something could click for him.
Could.
And because at his weight, that only adds to the injuries according to everybody. So if he gets serious about his health at age 25, where he's going now, he's not going to play much longer. He plays 5-6 more years and the body will wear out. Gets into better shape, he can play 15 more years.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I still have a sweet tooth. And I got, you know what high chews are?
Oh, yeah. I hadn't had them in forever.
I ate a whole bag on the way to the beach on Friday.
Crap.
A whole bag.
I always tell myself I won't eat a whole bag of high chews, but every time I buy them, the whole bag's gone. I can't stop myself.
So my point is that, 50, eating high chews, this kid's still 25, so he's got some time. And obviously he's one of the best. I mean, he's been in all first team NBA is like one of the highest honors you can get because there's only 5 guys. And he's been that for 5 consecutive years. Now, he's not eligible this year because of injuries. Now, what I find hard to believe out of the story is Rob Pelinka, your general manager for the Lakers, says LeBron was at dinner with his family celebrating a win and had no idea this trade was going down.
I don't believe that either. This is a guy whose son's doing a Make-A-Wish for your team.
Yeah.
I mean,
no chance.
Yeah, I don't believe that he's not.
I would
running that
love
whole
it
franchise.
if that was true and you did not tell LeBron about the trade.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if LeBron wanted the trade, you would still love it. I mean, it's a good trade.
No, I would, but I'm just saying that I would love the fact that LeBron doesn't dictate all of the moves.
If this is LeBron's last year with the Lakers, you've got your star to build around moving forward in L.A.
Yeah, that's what's exciting, I think, about for Lakers fans is, Anthony Davis is great, but Anthony Davis is injury prone, and Anthony Davis is in his 30s now. He's been doing this a lot longer.
I said that on the golf course yesterday. They were like, well, Luka was always hurt. And I said, Anthony Davis is always hurt,
He's
too.
a walking injury.
Yeah.
I honestly, and I don't mean this as a joke, my biggest takeaway from this was it shows your Lakers are still serious. I mean, they don't look like a serious franchise.
Well, I think in order to make a deal of this magnitude, I think both organizations have to recognize we're not winning a championship.
Yeah.
So something dramatic has got to be done, and this was dramatic.
By the way, one of the funnier videos I saw yesterday was some guy was trying to execute this trade on NBA 2K. The video game,
they wouldn't allow it.
The video game would not allow it. He's like, guys, it's the same exact trade the NBA is going to allow, and their own video game won't allow it.
Well, I mean, if David Stern was still in charge, would he?
He would block it.
Didn't he keep Chris Paul from
Yes,
going
he
to the
did.
Lakers?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that set the Lakers back. It actually put the Clippers in a situation where they were very, very competitive. Knocking on the door of making noise in the postseason. Yeah, that was all David Stern.
Yeah.
Would not allow it,
and they wouldn't have allowed this one but using the same rules. If it applied, and also Mark Cuban wasn't involved in the trade. I mean, he owns part of the team still, right?
He is a silent minority now.
Yeah, so he had nothing to do with the trade. So there's Luka.
But
there 25, an old 25, but he's 25 on his way to the Lakers.
There is a minority out there that believes that maybe the Mavericks end up winning this trade because you get you get an Anthony Davis, so you do get better at defense. I don't see it, man. I mean, Luka is incredible. I get the fact that he looks like a chubby kid that wears the tough skins.
Yeah.
Or he looks like a dude that and I remember my buddy Chief, his dad, Red Harden, would come out and shoot hoop with us, and he always had a cigarette in his mouth. Always.
Yeah.
When he was shooting
hoop with a cig.
With a cig, yeah.
It ash on the threes.
And he could fill it up. But, I mean, Luka's just one of those kind of guys. Could you not see Luka roll out there with a cigarette, drink a beer right after a game of pickup on Venice Beach?
That's right. I mean, during timeout, go over there and start sipping on a Bud Light. Absolutely. So that's the big trade everyone's talking about. We've got 4 downs in this segment. Later on, Pat Bradley joins us at 10:30, and Brock Huard later at 12 noon. A little longer show today. Do you have any Luka in the 4 downs today? Do you know?
Oh, I'll tell you right now, Dunaway. I don't know if I do or don't. I did this in the drive down yesterday too.
Why you end up pulling that up? I'll tell you. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. No tie to Luka, but if he wanted to drop a few pounds,
wouldn't hurt.
He could call Leslie and our board certified team there to help you with the weight loss. All you have to do is go to the website, aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. No contracts, no sign-up fees. That first consultation's free, so you get to find out about Way to Wellness without really spending any money first. See if you like it. The protein bars, which I enjoy every morning and in the middle of the show here, it's a great way to tide you over to your next healthy meal. Also, they have injection therapies and everything else you need. It is Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Go check them out at planforme.com.
Real quick, I was going to say, it's a crazy trade when one of the most respected NBA reporters has to say, guys, I wasn't hacked.
Yeah.
This was an actual tweet. I promise you, I wasn't hacked.
It's a big trade when Rhett Lashley, head coach of playoff SMU, jumps on Twitter, I think today, still, or maybe it was last night. Rhett Lashley jumps on and says, I'm a ball coach and in the sports world, so I really try not to be critical of other coaches, sports leaders for obvious reasons. But after almost 24 hours trying to figure out the reason to trade a generational player, I've still got nothing. feels way overthought. I sure hope it works out for everyone, but sure hate it for our city to lose such a icon who embraced the Dallas. That from Rhett last week, the Dallas fan base, who's got kids, I'm sure, that love Luka.
Oh, yeah.
I started getting text when the trade went down, and the biggest surprise for me, I was just waiting for Little T to reach out. I need a video. I need a video.
Yeah. Did you end up doing one? Did she reach out, or was she caught up in basketball?
She did.
Yeah. All right. 4 Downs brought to you by our friends at Slice. Great destination for lunch today when it opens up at 11 o'clock. That wonderful pizza. Brown's unlocked the Italian sub sandwich there.
Legit.
Yeah. I've got to try that thing out.
So good.
Were you dipping it in ranch too?
I was dipping the fries in ranch, not the sub. No.
Yeah, 5 locations for you. Stop in for lunch or dinner. The original Lakeview Vestavia, Montevallo Crestline Park, newest location right there in Edgewood. Get in and see the Bajaya Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients. For more information on that incredible menu, go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Martha Stewart, 84 years old today. Okay. I've heard the documentary really good on Netflix, by the way. I don't know, I haven't seen it. But if I ask you about her career, Martha Stewart or Tony Stewart?
Tony Stewart was successful on the Indy circuit and then on the NASCAR circuit. More people are going to know Martha Stewart. Really, to me, the end of her career sort of started a different level of popularity for her. You know what I mean?
When she got arrested, started smoking weed.
Yeah, and her relationship with Snoop Dogg. Yeah. So she had a career that I knew of her, but didn't really care about her. And then she got a lot more interesting in her 60-plus years, something that I'd love to follow the footprint of. But I'm gonna say Martha Stewart is more well known, has had a better career, but Tony Stewart really underrated. NASCAR champion and an Indy champion.
Am I wrong that on the same day he had a top 10 in both the Indy 500 and the NASCAR race? Did he not top 10 those in the same day? I could be wrong.
That'd be very Deion Sanders, right?
Yeah, I could be wrong.
He tried to do that a lot. He may have, Brown.
That's pretty remarkable if you could top 10 both those in the same day. I could be wrong about that, but it seems like I remember he did that.
He may have.
Yeah.
He may have. Indy 500, Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah, I'm still going to go Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
She's still got staying power, too.
Tony Stewart, my favorite NASCAR driver of all time.
No,
I'm going to go Martha.
More so at 84, I'd like to mentally and physically be where she is.
Yeah. She's fun on those roasts, too.
Second down.
James Hetfield, 62 years old today. If I asked you ultimately better career, James Hetfield or James Cameron?
James Hetfield, don't know who he is?
I was going to ask you guys who he is.
You tell
right
us
now,
anything.
James Cameron.
Do you know who James Cameron is?
No, James Cameron is a movie director.
Very good.
Did things
most
like...
known for Titanic. But
but did a lot of other
Terminator,
things.
Terminator 2 were huge.
Yeah.
Aliens was big. Avatar. He's done a ton of stuff. He's won a Best Picture. He's won a Best Director.
Okay, James Hetfield he's a singer, rock and roll guy. Is he the lead singer of Metallica?
Yeah,
Yes,
Jim. You did it.
But writes a ton of their stuff too.
Yeah, well, if he writes them too, I always like people that write stuff. So I'm going to go the Metallica guy. But Cameron's well respected.
Boy, this is close.
It is tight. Yeah.
I think I'll go Hetfield just because I probably like Hetfield a lot more. But I could go either direction because when you look at Cameron, how he continues to do it, especially in that genre. And make quality movies. Like, how did you feel about Avatar? I thought it was interesting. Never wanted to see it again. Didn't want to see the second or third. But I thought the first one was really unique the way they did it.
I'm not an Avatar fan. He ripped off the story, and then he calls himself a genius for it.
Wow, look at Tyler.
Tarantino ripped off Reservoir Dogs. That's what people do.
I don't like Reservoir Dogs that much either. It's probably my least favorite Tarantino film. But the way that James Cameron's been able to just make these movies that have huge cultural impacts and get everyone into the theaters, you've got to go James Cameron. Because James Hetfield can't get everybody to go to a Metallica concert. Some people just aren't going to like metal, period.
The Terminators, Aliens, you said, Abyss. I liked True Lies. He did that. I didn't know that. Titanic
the
was
Abyss
iconic.
Was I'll tell you this. To me, Terminator 2 was his coup de grace. And Tyler, you won't remember this because it came out in the summer of 1991. But back when ETV, before you could scroll on the internet and pick things up, that's where I would go for all my movie previews and trailers. And I remember they kept doing the making of and they kept hyping it up. But that was one of those, I went and saw it in the theater like 3 times in the first week or two. I pulled a Tyler back then because the special effects were next level. with Robert Patrick as the T-2000. I mean, that movie was groundbreaking back in the day.
I'm glad to hear you say that about Reservoir Dogs, because when somebody found out I didn't like Pulp Fiction, I was like, I just don't really like Tarantino movies. Like, okay, if you'll do this for me, watch all of Reservoir Dogs. You got to watch every moment of it. And by the time that thing ended, I was like, thank God that's over. That was a waste.
You would be more, if you were going to go Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But
that's a long movie.
Yeah. I tried to find it over the weekend. You can't find it anywhere on streaming where it's not, you don't have to pay for it.
He wrote Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Yeah. Here's how I would break this, figure this out.
Movie.
More people have seen Cameron's work than have heard Hetfield's work. So I got to go James Cameron on this.
You're probably right about that.
Third down.
Tom Brady, 48 years old today. If I asked you better career, Tom Brady or the New England Patriots overall?
Tom Brady.
I'll go Tom Brady as well.
Because he's gone and won a world championship at another place, and all of New England's world championships came from
Tom Brady.
There you go.
Okay, what about if I said Tom Brady or Wayne Gretzky? Still easy?
He's got more championships than Gretzky has Stanley Cups, right?
Probably, but I think Gretzky...
You don't think so? How many did Gretzky win?
He won a lot. I think he won 3 straight with Edmonton.
He's about to not be the all-time leading scorer. Gretzky's about to pass him.
But do you guys... I mean, it's clear-cut.
Gretzky won with the Kings, too, right?
No, they played for one in 93.
They didn't win it?
No, they lost to Montreal. Patrick Waugh. If I told you clear-cut, Gretzky's the best ever, right?
Yes, they literally call him the great
and
one.
I don't think it is clear cut with Tom Brady.
Yeah, Gretzky is their Michael Jordan.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about Brady maybe not being the best NFL player of all time, he's the best player at the most important position, so it's hard to say he's not.
I know. Yeah. But, the most subjective would be baseball, the greatest of all time, and then I think it would be football. Because I do think it is Michael Jordan. I think it's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. To your point, Tom Brady probably didn't have the strongest arm or the best accuracy or this or that. But
even if you just look at pure,
it all together,
pure skill. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has got more skill than Tom Brady.
Dan Marino had better arm strength.
He was the best.
Talent.
He was the best in what mattered most. He won games and he won championships, and that's what matters most.
I will go slightly better. I'm going to slightly better Wayne Gretzky, but I mean, I could be flipped on either way on it.
Yeah, I would go Brady, but it's tight. Really, really, really tight.
Fourth down.
Andrew's right. Inglourious Bastards is probably the best Tarantino film I've seen.
Yeah, I could see you like Inglourious Bastards is really good.
Yeah, that's probably the one I like the most. That's the one I like the most.
If I were to just recommend you one of his movies, that would be the one I would recommend.
Yeah.
Or if I could get 90 minutes, if I could get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in the 90-minute capsule, might be able to do that. Okay, so this is pretty random. Jump in, Tyler, as well. Most random fast food item you're a big fan of. Like I will go the shoestring fries from Freddy's.
Those are very good. Yep.
No,
I don't like them. No, thank you.
Dunaway doesn't like anything.
No, I don't like them. I mean, if you're going to take those over McDonald's fries? No.
Oh, yes.
No. Not if you've got a good McDonald's. No. The shoestring fries at Freddy's?
Yeah, from the 70s?
Yeah, the McDonald's fries are better than
an oxymoron.
Hey, and by the way, I know it's PMOS or whatever it is, but the Chick-fil-A fries are dialed in right now. I like the crispiness.
I can't taste the difference, man.
I can't taste the difference, but I noticed the crispiness. Driving to the game on Saturday, I picked up a big, large French fry and a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and they were spot on. They were every one of them was crunchy all the way, and I couldn't taste any difference. So a fast food item, I'm absolutely
the most random?
like you'll go to this random place just to get this one item.
I go to Hamburger Heaven, and I more often than not order the club sandwich more than I do a burger or a hot dog.
Yeah,
there or a milkshake. I mean, that club sandwich, all the other stuff is good, but
it's my favorite thing they got.
I go to Hamburger Heaven for that.
Like, this is how random. Like, I do think the club sandwich is random. If you've had it, it doesn't seem like it. We talk about it all the time.
It's an elite club.
But
sandwich.
like Maddie told me yesterday, Wiener Schnitzel's chili dog. Wiener Schnitzel's big out west.
Where do you find a Wiener Schnitzel?
Out west.
Yeah, okay.
But that's very specific.
So they got a chili dog? Yeah, that is very specific.
Hey, here, I got one. Sonic. The only time I ever go to Sonic is for the cheddar peppers.
Cheddar peppers?
Cheddar peppers, okay.
Those things are awesome.
So what is it, like basically like a hush puppy with hot-ass cheese and a jalapeno in the middle?
Yeah, it's basically a jalapeno.
And you dip it in ranch, I'm guessing?
Yeah, you can dip it in ranch.
Yeah. Only time I go to Sonic is to pick up Maddie a corn dog. If I'm ever going over to LT's, I used to swing by there at the Sonic that they built on the entrance to his neighborhood and pick up a couple of corn dogs.
It is certainly not the only time I go to Culver's, but cheese curds, to my knowledge, that's the only drive-through you can get cheese curds.
What do you dip the cheese curd in?
Cookout. Get them a cookout.
Can you too? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know
cheese
that.
bites.
I dip the
decipher the menu at Cookout.
Yeah, that's true. I don't freeze up at Culver's. They've got a very easy to understand menu. I dip them in Culver's marinara sauce, but you can dip them in ranch if you want to.
Underrated. Dip it in one of their ice creams.
Cheese curds and Culver's ice cream?
It is really good.
Y'all dog me out for mayonnaise and jelly.
It is really good. It is really good.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Have you guys had the corn balls at Hamburger
Oh,
Heaven?
yes.
Oh, they're fantastic.
So that used to be, so when before we all did a show, Ian and I, you probably, I don't know if you remember Ian Fitzsimmons, that name that jumps up, but we used to get Hamburger Heaven every day.
His
we
dad
would send
did die,
out,
his brother did. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I would always get the club, the corn balls, and a vanilla shake.
Wow,
that was my order every day.
That calorie count something else.
God,
There was about 2 years when I did TV where I bought me and Saybear and sometimes the intern and anybody else lunch at Hamburger Heaven if Saybear would run and get it.
Clubs and corn balls. We went a lot of clubs and corn balls during that run, Dunaway.
Yeah, that was two full-time salaries.
I buy
Jim.
you fly.
Yeah, that's the way it was. That's the way it was. Because we were anchored to that desk 10 to 2, and Fat Boy had to eat.
That's right.
That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 great locations created by the late Jeff Bajaya, his brothers Jason and Chris. Continue to celebrate that legacy. Stop in. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
As crazy as the basketball weekend was, there are a couple of storylines from college football that we've got to get to, including Matt Rhule, and we'll circle back to what Ryan Grubb coming to Alabama means and where Chip Kelly is heading and for how much money Chip Kelly is going to do his next job. But our friends at New Life want to remind you that when the next big moment happens in Alabama football, have this website ready to go because they'll drop another great cut. It's DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. When the legend Nick Saban announced his retirement, Daniel A. Moore started working on that painting, The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championships. You can get your version of that right now at DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. The promo code is TNR. TNR right there. Go check it out. And all the great works of the past from Daniel Moore. DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season. As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hour number 2 of the show, Pat Bradley joins us at 10:30 to get back into basketball after Auburn's big win on the road at Ole Miss. 13-game win streak for #1 Auburn. 92-82 new poll will come out today. Auburn will still be unanimously #1 in the country. Duke embarrassed their rival North Carolina, calling off the Dogs and still beating them by 17.
Boy, that was ugly.
Alabama, a good chance they'll move up to #3 in the AP poll. They beat Georgia. Iowa State lost 2 games, so Marquette's in the mix there, but Marquette lost. I mean, so just by Alabama and Auburn continuing to win and Duke continuing to win, they'll move up to the top 3 of the new poll. That'll come out later on.
Do you think there's a chance that either Syracuse or at Clemson, Duke could lose one of those? At Clemson.
At Clemson, yeah.
Clemson might be the second best team in the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, I think Duke will probably only be like a 3.5, 4-point favorite in that.
The reason I asked that, Jim, is if Alabama and Auburn then take care of business, Duke losing at Clemson could open the door for a 1-2 Auburn-Alabama basketball game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, game day's coming. They just haven't announced it yet. College game day will be in Tuscaloosa because we learned over the weekend, or I did in Tuscaloosa, that Jay Billis is going to be on the call of that game. And Brown, Jay Billis is always on game day, and then if he's calling the game, that's usually where game day is.
Especially if the Bama game and Auburn game tips at
3 o'clock.
And game day ends at 11 o'clock. Yeah. He ain't flying that quick. Yeah.
You know, we brought up Anthony Davis earlier on the show. Cooper Flagg might be the best freshman I've seen since Anthony Davis.
Jay Billis calls him that, the best freshman that Duke's ever had, and that gets you to a lot of great freshmen.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, Broome is incredible for Auburn, but your player of the year is going to be 100% Cooper Flagg. I mean, Cooper Flagg is the best player in college basketball.
I would agree with you. He's going to win player of the year, but
you would agree he's the best player too. Maybe not the most. Well, probably is the most important too.
Auburn's a deeper team than Duke, if that's what you're saying.
They are. They could win a lot of games without Broome, as they did.
Yeah. Flagg just can absolutely do everything. I got bored at halftime of that game, and you know, Duke got outscored in the second half. As you said, they called off the Dogs, and I had Duke minus the points. But man, Cooper Flagg is just. Everybody will talk about Zion, and Zion was so electric and explosive. But Flagg a much better player.
I saw after that game was over, some of the big national people start to ask the question, does this end it for Hubert Davis? I mean, that's a serious conversation right now. Yeah.
When you're not going to make the tournament, probably, and you're getting embarrassed by your rival, where they're basically, putting their sword down and not stabbing you and ending your life. That's a bad look.
And I'm sure you guys have heard this. I got, an Alabama fan reached out to me Saturday night. Hey, do you think if North Carolina went hard after Oates, they'd get him?
They will go hard after Oates.
I think they
don't know
will
if they'd
too.
get him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. If you're going to pass on Kentucky, why would you take North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I would agree with you.
We'll see. The show being brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Tell us about Woodhouse, and then we're going to get into some college football before we get back to basketball.
Look, just a great place to go for yourself. The gift of relaxation. Brown went, how long ago was it when you went up there?
A couple weekends ago. Yeah.
A little couples massage if you want to do that. Obviously, if you've got a guys trip coming up, or maybe you just want to watch basketball all day on a Saturday or Sunday, send the wife or girlfriend to the Woodhouse Day Spa, conveniently located right there at the Summit Shopping Centers. Let her choose from a menu of over 70 options, including those massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that special person gift 24/7 online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Again, you can stop in, see Stewart and that incredible staff. Tell them the Next Round sent you.
The College Football Spotlight.
It is presented each day by McCurry. McCurry Van and Car Rentals got those difficult cars, vans, SUVs that you can't find everywhere. You can get them at McCurry, and they make it super easy, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard at Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Listen, the portal is tough to manage. Tampering is real. Matt Rhule, as they get ready to start spring drills in Nebraska, has this wild thought, and he announces it over the weekend. Here is our buddy in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he is circling the wagons.
Are you able to say at this point whether or not there will be any form of scrimmage that day?
Yeah, I don't know that yet, but I'll be honest with you, I highly doubt it. And I think it's really fundamentally, I hate to say it like this, it's really because, last year we're one of the more televised. We were one of the more televised spring games, and I dealt with a lot of people offering our players a lot of opportunities after that. So to go out and bring in a bunch of new players and then showcase them for all the other schools to watch, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The word tampering doesn't exist anymore. It's just absolute free, open, common market. And so I don't necessarily want to open up to the outside world. I don't want these guys all being able to watch our guys and say, wow, he looks like a pretty good player. Let's go get him.
So no spring game. They had 60,000 fans, one of the most attended games, and he's like, we may gather the fans together and we may do, they may have the Nebraska versions of the Mannings there to put on some kind of newlywed game or something, but they're not going to play a football game because they don't want Coach Taylor watching.
Couldn't you just play it and not allow cameras in there?
Well, that probably defeats the Big Ten Network purpose.
Well, I just wonder a couple of things here.
Now, he's got 13 early signees from a great recruiting class that's going to be out there. He's got 12 portal guys that he really likes. So there's 25 newcomers that he doesn't want to give anybody
a couple of things to look at. So from Temple to Baylor in year 3, and he's going into year 3 in Lincoln, he had 4-win jumps in both of those seasons. If he is able to jump 4 wins, that puts him at 11 wins.
Playoffs.
Yeah, but if I'm a Nebraska fan, and I'm going to continue to bring this up probably for the entirety of however long we do this show, Kirk Cignetti. If Cignetti can do it in year 1 at Indiana, why can't Nebraska and Matt Rhule do this, especially in year 3? With all that said, he did it with transfers. How many guys that don't want to run a spring game are going to use this as an excuse now?
I don't think there's a single coach out there that wants to do one.
Yeah, and how easy is this now? Hey, you heard Matt Rhule talking about it.
And he's not wrong, by the way.
Yeah, spring game is really big for them and for their fan base, but based on where we are in college football, the tampering, we're not doing it. So this is going to be the first to do this. It won't be the last.
If you don't do it the way Nick Saban did it most years, it's a wasted practice.
Which is what?
He did a lot of one-on-ones. Like
ones v1s is what you mean?
1v1s.
Yeah.
Like he'd have the 1 offense against the 1 defense, the 2 offense against the 2 defense. Basically the way he would scrimmage if they were having their last practice of the year. He tried to do that in a game setting. And if you've got the 1s playing the 2s or the 1s and 2s playing the 3s, it's a wasted practice.
One of my pet peeves in life is the attitude of it's the way we've always done it. Let's just keep doing something because it's the way we've always done it. Whether it's In business, in sports, in churches, wherever. It is a pet peeve of mine. Like, just because you've always done it one way does not mean it's the only way to do it. Does not mean it's still the best way to do it. And I get the feeling that we play spring games now because that's the way we've always done it.
Were you glad Bill Callahan did it his way?
He tried.
He did.
He didn't come in and run the triple option.
First play in their spring game.
Everybody went crazy. Yeah, and didn't work. But my point is, I think we play spring games because that's the way we've always done it, right? Like, what is the purpose of a spring game? What do you get out of that? What do you get out of a spring game?
You get the chance for fans and alumni in the middle of spring
correct.
to go on campus to tailgate.
That is correct.
And go into the stadium.
And as a coach, that benefits me how?
None. Zero.
Because I can have one-on-one scrimmage.
Yeah.
We could scrimmage in a closed stadium with no fans and get the same exact thing out of it as we do in a spring game, if not more.
In fact, we do on the
Exactly.
Saturday before the 8A game
right.
and the Saturday before
Yep.
that. You do that a couple of times in the spring, and you get a lot more out of it. It goes on longer, by the way.
That's right.
And you play ones on ones, and then twos on twos, and threes on threes, and fours on fours, and everybody gets a better practice.
Is a fair follow-up to Matt Rhule, do you watch other spring games?
Yeah.
I think he's crazy if he doesn't. Like, if I see guys stealing mine, I guess I need to watch them too and see who I want.
Usually the spring game hero doesn't turn into a ton
That
the
is
next
correct.
year.
But they're not necessarily getting the hero. They're just saying, ooh, I like that guy.
But I will tell you, I mean, I remember watching Jalen Hurts the spring game, and I thought to myself, God, he looks like their best quarterback.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't tell. Remember, Cam Newton did not look good at all.
No. But I just remember thinking, Jalen, I said, that kid looks pretty good.
Yeah, but then, you know what? I just flushed it. It's a spring game.
Spring game. I never thought he'd ever start.
Yeah.
But I said, God, he looked good.
And then he didn't win the starting job. And you're like, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
So Raiola coming back for year 2.
That's big.
That's big. You've got these transfers that he's obviously really high on. When you look at their schedule, the only for sure, and I think they're going to be underdogs in probably 3 games, but the only for sure underdog game there at Penn State, week 11 or 12, second to last game of the season. But they've got Michigan at home and USC at home. They don't play Penn State. They don't play Oregon. They don't play Ohio State or Oregon.
Wow.
I mean, they have a very manageable schedule.
They don't play Penn State, Ohio State, or Oregon?
Well, they play Penn State.
Penn State.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was the one game they'll be underdogs in.
Yeah. In other words, they've got Indiana's schedule.
Yeah, without Indiana.
Yeah.
Kirk
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you bring up Cignetti.
Yep.
He was helped by his schedule, and he brought some of his James Madison guys with him.
I mean, they're out of conference. Akron, Houston Christian, and Cincinnati.
Is that a real school?
They're playing Houston Christian?
Yeah, Cincinnati, Akron, and Houston Christian. Those are their 3 out of conference. There's their schedule right there.
Houston Christian. How big a favorite are they in that game? There won't be a
Okay,
line.
let's name the mascot at Houston Christian. Forster, you pull it up and unveil it for us while we guess Houston Christian. Oh, no, Tyler, we can see yours.
I'm going to say the Crusaders.
Yeah, don't do it, Tyler.
Crusaders,
Yep.
very normally Christian. You're going to get you get a lot of Lions in Christian.
Yeah, Crusaders is a good guess because Houston Christian Crusaders fly. That seems to be really good.
I'm going to say though, in Houston, they're going to go something Texas related.
Are you?
I'm going to say they go away from your standard run of the mill Christian, Lion Crusader.
Could it be the Cervezas?
I'm going to Houston Christian.
I'm going
Crusaders is where I was going to go.
By the way, I saw that Russia used to. I've got a new thing, and I'll tell you guys about it with facts of the day.
All right,
really interesting stuff. But another thing that I did on my drive up yesterday. Beer.
So you did everything but drive, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Beer. I said that. I was in the passenger seat. Beer was considered a soft drink in Russia until 2011. And back to Rio Bravo, the movie that I was watching last week. Dean Martin played the drunk, and so he was going through detox and stuff, and so they were like, let's get him another beer. So they'd let him drink as much beer as he wanted because they didn't consider it like alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, are we sure
that's
this
the way Landman is?
Are we sure this is not Houston Baptist? This is a whole new school.
Oh yeah,
Houston Christian.
This is Houston Christian.
I mean,
sure.
I saw it on the schedule. Houston Baptist that's a legit school.
A very good baseball program.
Very good baseball program.
I'm going to say they're the Missions.
Oh, now I see the logo. So I was wrong, by the way.
I'm going to go with the Coyotes. I'm going to go with a very Western theme there.
Based on what I see, it looks like a Husky, just based on the picture.
Yeah.
Is it the Huskies?
It's the Huskies.
They are the Huskies.
How are you,
Christian
Scott? How are you,
Huskies.
Houston? How are you a Husky in Houston, Texas?
All dogs
Scott?
go to heaven, man.
I don't know. You're a Husky, and your name is Mingo.
But I bet you.
My mascot had a first name.
Am I in?
Yeah, I think there is something about having Huskies. We were talking about the snow down at the beach, and this dude that's the GM at this restaurant down there was like, my Husky, he's from St. Louis, my Husky loved the snow.
You have a Husky at the beach?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking myself.
That
I was
poor
just like,
dog.
Yeah. How do you do that?
I mean, that dog is constantly hot.
Yeah, he gets 1 day of snow in his lifetime.
He probably cried.
Did I die and go to heaven?
Tear.
Did I die and go to heaven?
All right, a lot of people are saying Dallas Baptist is rebrand. No, that's Dallas Baptist, not Houston
That's right.
Baptist.
No, it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But
my
Houston
bad.
Baptist.
That's-
No, Houston
that's my bad.
Baptist used to be in conference with Sanford way back in the day.
Okay, well, this
Houston Baptist is a real thing.
So people are saying this is the rebrand of Houston Baptist. They're just
Hey,
now.
so I can confirm that.
Okay.
On September 21st, 2022, Houston Baptist University became Houston Christian University.
Well, there you go.
Oh, and I don't think Houston Baptist was the Huskies, though. Did they change the name, too?
Probably so. Houston Baptist. We got to give up the Baptist. We're just gonna be Christian. We're all denominations.
That'll fool them.
They're not Baptist anymore. They're just Christians.
Tougher schedule now. Houston Christian sounds tougher. All right, so that is Matt Rhule trying to protect the brand there in Lincoln, Nebraska. And probably something, as LT says, other coaches will be like, hey, look at him. We can do that too.
Are we going to miss that as fans?
No, I don't watch spring games. They are so boring.
I have a feeling they'll end up doing something, gather together and do what Lane Kiffin did last year. Remember, Lane Kiffin didn't really have a spring game. He had a fun day.
But do you remember why? Because I think he said the same thing. I think he's like, why am I going to run a game?
That's sort of why I brought it up, that he wanted to protect his
That's right. He said,
roster.
why am I going to run a game so people can watch it and pick my players? I'm just going to have a fun day. Now, somebody in the chat room, it's moving too fast. Somebody in the chat room said, easy solution if they want to keep the spring games, just move spring games back till the portal closes, which would fix this concern.
Yeah. Then they basically become summer games.
Well, they do.
Yeah, and then Matt's probably like, don't mention that.
Yes, let's still have that idea.
We've got
like
an
this
out.
idea. Yeah. Okay, another big college football thing that happened this weekend. There's Pablo Escobar. Was that his name? Pablo Escobar. There's that one GIF where I know it was from the documentary, the TV show, where he's sitting in a swing by himself. Or he's standing at the pool. He's by himself a lot.
Empty pool. Yeah.
Is that Ryan Day these days at Columbus? I mean, is there anybody left on that coaching staff in Columbus, Ohio?
Boy,
was Ryan Day hard to work with
Mass
this year?
exodus.
I think it's telling. I mean, both guys took not even lateral jobs, worse jobs.
Well, I mean, Chip Kelly's
Chip
getting
Kelly's
paid.
getting $6 million, though.
$6 million per year to be the Raiders' offensive coordinator. And that's where Chip Kelly is now.
I do get the money, but it's a dead end. You don't even have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be probably a one-year job for him. Don't you think?
Big
talk. Big talk is that they will get Russell Wilson.
Okay, he's still not going to have a quarterback.
Yeah. You're still going to have the worst quarterback in division.
Yeah.
But I thought the Russell Wilson-Pete Carroll breakup was pretty hard.
I don't know if it was on Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson. It was a strained relationship, I think is the way to put it.
So it's hard to imagine he would leave Pittsburgh, but is he a free agent?
Yeah, he was a one-year deal.
Okay, so he's a free agent, so he can end up anywhere. But that's where Chip Kelly is. Remember, Jim Knowles is at rival Penn State, which makes you wonder if there was any bad blood there. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do.
Well, we know that's a downward move.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to Penn State, and this year we're going to be what you were last year. We're going to come back at you. Chip Kelly at least goes to the NFL. By the way, they lost another coordinator who's moved on to the NFL. I mean, not a coordinator, but another assistant coach. Yeah, offensive line coach. I mean, that's Justin Fry. He's gone to Arizona to be offensive line coach. He's Pablo Escobar. He's
he's all by himself.
Normally, if this is a Luke Fickell Cincinnati, we got to a college football playoff, this was a miraculous, incredible season, then you see guys defect because they get better jobs. This really looks like these guys don't really like Ryan Day.
It does. After their national championship, to have this type of exodus is weird. And we get fixated on weird things. Scott, can Scott put the Chip Kelly photo back up?
And as he does, it's like if these guys were getting head jobs.
Is there a salad bar in Vegas?
I mean, what's he doing with his face? Of all the Chip Kelly
all
pictures?
Those photos. That's the one on 3 picks?
I mean, on 3. Taylor Corn.
There's 8 million Chip
No,
Kelly
but I
photos out
guarantee
there.
you could find better. On 3 is the one that wanted to go with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. On 3, I mean, if you run social media, you get to choose.
Yeah, but
pictures.
if you have a bad and you used to talk about filing people in that top
That's
right hand
right.
drawer. I mean, if you have a bad encounter with Chip Kelly, do you not search for the worst likeness of him?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you're running by the way, if you're running say an Alabama fan site, and something you're posting a story about Hugh Freeze, you probably put him with one eye closed and a weird look on his face. That's what On 3 did to Chip Kelly there. They found
a picture of Hugh texting.
Or him walking down the street and that cute girl in the skirt walking by, and he's got that little look over the shoulder.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
I just Chip Kelly with Pete Carroll. What does that do for you? If you're a Raiders fan,
I mean, again, if I've got Russell Wilson as my quarterback, it doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I would just be like, damn, I wish this was 20 years ago.
But what quarterback could you get that would excite you? I mean, you can't get one of those. You get lucky in the draft to get one, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. I think if you're a Raiders fan, you're hoping that Shador or Cam falls to number 6, or you're able to move up a little bit and get one of those 2, and you're just hoping that you have a Jaden Daniels-like situation.
But we've always known Chip Kelly doesn't want to recruit. It's what got him in trouble at UCLA.
Yeah, but you don't have to recruit. Ask Jim Knowles.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. If he could have worked that type of deal with Ryan Day, I'm sure he would have stayed. And you just wonder if Ryan Day wasn't interested in that.
He's an offensive guy, Ryan Day is. Brought in. He's friends with Chip. We don't know if anything went wrong there, but, hired gun. They win the national championship. You think him, and he moves on.
So new offense coordinator, obviously coming to Columbus, and new offense coordinator with Ryan Grubb coming to Tuscaloosa. What do you think the difference in scoring was Ohio State, Alabama this year?
It felt significant.
Yeah, especially the December run that they went on.
Yeah.
Does it count the postseason?
Yeah.
If you count the postseason, I'm going to say that
6 points per game.
I'm going to say it was a hefty 9.2 a game.
It was less than 2 points per game.
Yeah,
really.
felt a lot more.
It really did. Well,
Yeah.
I think some of this is Ohio State's defense was dominant.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about that enough. Ohio State averaged 35.7. Alabama averaged 33.8. So less than 2 points a game.
Felt different at the end for Alabama, though.
I think it felt different for Alabama based on the highs and lows.
The Oklahoma-Michigan game, the 2 of the last 4 games, that was the lows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was the lows. Speaking of lows.
And by the way, Chip's he seems older than 61.
Yeah.
But, based on where coaches have got, you can get a good decade.
He's done a lot at 61. I'll give him credit.
But to your point, he could be a head coach again and coach for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, hey, look, I've got no problem with this guy coaching another 10, 15.
Especially with that physique On 3 show.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know if,
Yeah. Hey,
the Widowmaker might kick in.
A+ brings you this part of the show. One more. Oh, we got Pat Bradley up next.
We do.
Pat Bradley coming up, and we'll get back to Jalen Milroe and where he is draft stock wise after the Senior Bowl. But A+ gets us to more basketball talk.
Yeah, A+bathandkitchen.com. That's the website you're going to need. You're going to want to go to that website and see a lot of before and afters for my man Brad Bell, A+bathandkitchen.com. When it came time to redo the Brown master bathroom, my wife scoured the internet looking for the right person for the job. After talking to contractors, reading reviews, talking to people to use certain contractors, she picked Brad Bell and A+ Bath and Kitchen. I'm glad she did because they did tremendous work. You can do the same. Here's his number, 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758 for Brad Bell at aplusbathandkitchen.com. Scotty's showing you our before and afters. You can see a lot more and a lot more about their business there online, aplusbathandkitchen.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, Trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rowback. Go to rowback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Pat Bradley in just a second to talk basketball. I did want to point out that I looked at, there was a guy that writes for ESPN that went to both the Shrine Game on Thursday and the Senior Bowl this weekend, and then he redid his mock draft 2 rounds. Where do you think he had Jalen Milroe going?
If he did 2 rounds, I would say you might not have seen.
Yeah, I don't think you saw Milroe.
Unless I missed him. I would scan through it twice, and I missed Jalen Milroe's name.
I think that has been a common theme coming out of Senior Bowl week, is that people that had Milroe, I'm not going to say all of them because God knows I haven't looked at all the mock drafts, but some of these mock drafts that had him as maybe a late first round, early second round guy have now dropped him completely out.
If he would have made noise in Mobile, it becomes then somewhat scary in a good way for Jalen Milroe, because you know what he's going to be able to do in Indianapolis. I just really wonder who that third quarterback is going to be that's taken. We know 1 and 2. I don't know exactly where they're going to go.
Jackson Dart has shot up some of these mock drafts.
He was the third one taken in the one I looked at. Let me just ask you real quick while we wait on Pat to join us to talk basketball. Will Huard not getting a lot of love, right? Boy, the way he looked in the postseason, you just mentioned the offense, looked like he was pinpoint accuracy, pretty strong arm, mobile guy. If I said Will Huard or Jalen Milroe, if you had to, this is for the NFL, who do you want?
I would go Jalen Milroe just based on this. I think more polished right now is Huard, but just upside.
Will Huard or Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart.
I think I'd go Dart.
Will Huard or Kyle McCord?
Kyle McCord.
Wow. Will Huard or Quinn Ewers?
Quinn Ewers.
Will Howie Will, I can't even read.
You're dead
Will
ones can't
Howard or
read.
Dylan Gabriel?
Will Howard.
Okay, finally I got somebody. Will Howard.
What is Gabriel's size?
Maybe 5'11".
Yeah,
Looks small.
That's going to be his problem. He looks small.
Yeah, looks smaller than Tua. And Tua's actually pretty
Tua's
big.
actually over 6 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a lot thicker than you think.
Yeah, I think Gabriel, will play in CFL.
That is not exactly a compliment.
Thank you. Mental note: Dylan does not want Lance as his agent.
No.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying the same about Milroe now.
Like, I don't have my ESPN Plus on here, but they just did a 2-round NFL mock draft. How many quarterbacks in the top 64 picks?
Yeah. That's
is this the Matt Miller
that was
one?
The one I was looking at. Yeah.
Jace in the chat room says even Skip Holtz watched the Senior Bowl and said, I can't fix Milroe. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. He's still going to get drafted. It's just that there were a lot of people, a lot of these mock drafts had talked him up to being in the first round. Would you throw at the combine if you were him?
I think I would have to now.
Yeah, you've got to.
You've got to, don't you?
I've got to now.
Yeah. After you've played that bad at the Senior Bowl, you got to show them that was a fluke.
Yeah. What I've got to do now, if I'm Milroe's camp, is I've got to go kill him on the vertical and the cones and the 40.
You're going to do that.
And the weightlifting, and then I'm going to throw anytime they want me to throw. I'm going to throw on private workouts. I'm going to throw on pro day. I'm going to throw at the combine. I'm going to talk about other guys that want to come here and throw. I got nothing to hide. Am I perfect? No. But here's what I can do. If you're a coach, you guys say you're the best coaches in the NFL, then coach me up. Let's go. And see how high I can get my stock. Because if you just sit back and rest on what you've done, it's not going to work for you.
See, I think there are 7 teams that have to draft quarterback.
At some point. Not first round,
right.
Just at some point.
But 7 teams have to at some point.
Please tell me Tampa Bay is not one of them.
Tampa Bay is not one of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah, 7 teams that have to draft quarterback.
And the Rams are not one of them yet.
The Rams are not one of them yet either.
Dolphins are not one yet.
The Dolphins are not one.
Well, they need one. They've got to address backup. So, like, if you could get one of these decent guys, even in the second round, Miami has got to do that at some point.
Yeah, I think, if you're looking to draft a backup, those second rounds very, very ambitious. But anyway, I think there's 7 that have to draft. So all it takes is one of those 7 to fall in love with a guy like Milroe, and he still could go, I don't want to say late first, man. He is like, it seems like the stock is at an all-time low right now.
It does. It is trending in a wrong direction. More football here before Bradley joins us. The show being brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. The best decision, LT's made a lot of good decisions in life.
Made a lot of bad ones, but one of the best decisions I made while on radio was going to see Dr. Mark Michelson because I wore those contacts. I was the hassle of taking them out every night, putting them back in the next morning, wasting money each and every year on the contacts and solution. Finally went to get screened out. I was a potential candidate, and now I have the 2015 vision better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She is going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
I know nobody really watched the Senior Bowl, but did you see Jack Besh, the brother of the kid that was killed, the Princeton player that was killed in New Orleans, score that touchdown?
Yeah. Is that how you say his last name?
Besh is the way
I was saying Beck, but I may be wrong.
I believe it's Besh.
I thought it was Beck.
Okay. My apologies to the family. They've been through enough, obviously, so I apologize if I butchered that name. But him scoring that touchdown and even more the reaction. I mean, people flooding off the sidelines to celebrate with the kid.
For those who don't know, his brother killed at the Bourbon Street attack.
That is right. He was the Princeton football player that was killed in the terrorist attack on Bourbon Street the night before what was supposed to be the Sugar Bowl. And he scored. He's a TCU wide receiver. He's playing in the Senior Bowl and scored a touchdown right at the end of the game. And, man, I mean, he was emotional. And then people just flooded off the sidelines to celebrate with the guy.
Ended up winning the MVP award.
You don't see that in the Senior Bowl. That was really, really cool.
Ryan Grubb to Alabama. We started the show with that, which brings up an interesting question. The quarterback race in the high with Jalen Milroe now in the rearview mirror. Alabama last year 42nd in total offense, 56th in passing offense. Ryan Grubb comes in. You've got Ty Simpson. Fair to say his job to lose.
Yep.
You got 5-star recruit Keelan Russell coming in, and then you have Austin Mack. Does Ryan Grubb coming in? Does that sort of reset Austin Mack to maybe give him a better upside in this quarterback race?
There's familiarity. Obviously, Austin Mack was the backup last year when Grubb was the offensive coordinator for Washington, who played for a national championship. I mean, I would assume that Grubb has had this conversation. He's obviously got a relationship with Nick Sheridan, too, with not only Kalen DeBoer, but with Nick Sheridan and, you know, getting their view on these guys. He's probably already watched film on these guys, but at the same time, I would assume he's coming in with a clean slate. Like, I know we've got this incredible freshman coming in Russell. We have got a guy that has really bought his time in Ty Simpson, and we've got a guy that I'm familiar with in Austin Mack, but let's let these guys play it out. I would think it's coming in with a clean slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that is one thing. You know, there's a lot of reasons this is a attractive spot for Ryan Grubb. I'm sure, number one, the familiarity with the coaching staff. You know what you're getting into with Kalen DeBoer. Number two, it's at Alabama. You're always going to have weapons there at Alabama. That's a place where you're always going to have plenty of guys. And I think number three is I think you got options at quarterback. You know, you don't come in like now. If you came in, I'm trying to think of a good example.
When he took the Seahawks job, he knew who his quarterback was.
No, he did.
Geno,
yeah.
I don't know if that excited him or not.
Well, I was trying to think of a good college situation where if you came in.
I mean, Texas was a good one last year.
If you like Quinn Ewers, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think most people like Quinn Ewers.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you come into a situation where an offensive coordinator has slayed it with a quarterback that's returning, that guy takes a head coaching job, that's a good spot to be in. But if you come in with a marginal starter and you feel like, I kind of got to let this guy lose the job, that's probably not as attractive as coming into three guys where it's clean slate, like you said. They're all fighting for the job. There's nobody that's got a leg up in this. I guess if anybody does, it'd be Ty Simpson, but how much of a leg up does he have? I mean, we've barely seen the guy.
It's great that you signed with Nick Saban and you were loyal to the program, but we've got to go with the quarterback that's going to win us a championship.
That's right. I mean, I think Ty Simpson, if anybody's got an advantage, it would be him, but how big an advantage does he really have?
With Raiola and with Nico, I mean, with true freshman quarterback, I'm not taking Russell off the table.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either.
I mean, it was like, I guess I just go back to like when you saw Tua relieve Jalen Hurts, you were like, that kid can play. There is no doubt about that guy. Even when you saw Mac Jones have to play those 4 games after Tua got hurt, you're like, Mac Jones has got a really big upset now. Yeah. I know both you guys thought it was going to be Bryce Young, but you still saw Mac Jones play good football.
Yeah.
And then when you saw Bryce replace Mac Jones in games, you're like, this kid can play too. There was always that. You don't feel that with Ty Simpson right now, do you?
No. Well, I just haven't seen
it. That's what I'm saying. You saw those guys, and they played when you saw them.
I don't know what Ty Simpson is.
I don't know what Austin Mack is.
No, I really don't know what Austin Mack is.
I certainly don't know what Keelan Russell is. I know by some services he's the top player in high school football. But
I feel like I know more what Keelan Russell is than I do.
Which is what?
Where Ty Simpson and Austin Mack
is. That good or bad?
Oh, I figure it's good. I mean, he's a 5-star guy. I mean, those guys never
I do think so. Mack would be, if you just ask fans, what would excite you the most? Mack would be number 3. And then.
Oh, the popularity vote is Ty Simpson right now. That's who Alabama fans wanted all last year instead of Jalen Milroe. They were ready to flush Milroe after the.
But I do
game.
think there's something exciting about a 5-star true.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. If I knew he came in and won the job, part of me is nervous because a freshman's able to win the job. But then another part of me is excited because
damn, this guy must be really, really good.
I mean, I really think most Alabama fans, excuse me, I think most Alabama fans want to see Ty Simpson go win the job because they felt like he's done his time, right? I made that sound like prison.
Well, and I think
he is stuck with the program.
Yeah, and in today's college football, I think you really respect that because how many guys stick with not even a year of sitting? This guy has sat multiple years.
That's right.
But do you guys? I mean, I'm going to be surprised if Simpson doesn't start in Tallahassee.
It would be an upset.
I would be surprised too. But it does sound like it'll be an open quarterback competition for all 3 spots there in Tuscaloosa. The starter, the backup, and who would play the backup to the backup. With a new offensive coordinator coming in, Ryan Grubb. We'll talk more about Ryan Grubb and what he'll bring to Tuscaloosa when Brock Huard joins the show just around 12 noon. We'll go a little long today with the show to squeeze in Brock after his radio show out west. He'll jump on with us. Back to basketball after Brownie tells us about our friends at JohnsonRVCenter.com.
Yeah, you can find them I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and they just wrapped up a excellent show there. in Huntsville at their RV show. It is coming to Birmingham at the BJCC February 14th through the 16th. So Valentine's Day, just go ahead and mark it in your mind. That's the RV show there at the BJCC. So you can take advantage of show deals there or at any of their locations right now. Payments starting as low as $129 a month with approved credit on a great selection of travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes. Right there at Johnston RV Center, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, johnstonrvcenter.com.
So we're about a month away from starting to really worry about filling our bracket out. We've got to come up over the next month with a bracket challenge. We had fun shooting free throws last year. It was a punishment, but it was a fun day. So we'll have to come up with something over the next month and a half to penalize. But I don't know. And we say this every year. It seems like this may be the toughest bracket ever to fill out. Do you think that you will? If I asked you, you had to sit down right now and fill out a bracket. And I know you guys give me hell that I put Auburn to win it all last year.
Oh boy, don't do this.
But how do you not right now, if you filled out your bracket, how do you not have? I'm asking you, Lance.
Yeah.
How do you not have Auburn to win it all?
Brian,
I ask you, how do you not have Auburn to win it all?
I think I would have. Well, I mean, Auburn or Duke. I think I would lean Duke right now.
Okay, so if they're in different brackets on different side, would you play it out Auburn versus Duke for the national? How do you not do that?
I don't know.
Well, I couple things. Number one, how often does the team that is the best team throughout the season win the national championship?
Last year.
The
year before.
Probably the year before that.
Probably the year before that.
Yeah.
All right, now go. I mean, UConn did it a couple times, but
felt like Villanova did it once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every time, though, is my point. So you don't just automatically go with the best team. How often does the conference that's obviously the best conference deliver on that in the NCAA tournament where you're like, all right, the SEC was obviously the best conference. I'm going to start picking SEC teams or ACC or whoever is thought to be the best conference.
Big East last year.
Were they considered the best conference throughout the season?
I thought so.
I don't know if they were or not.
Maybe.
But, I mean, and what was their record in the tournament? I don't know. I mean, I know UConn.
Last year, though, was interesting because it was almost wire to wire, UConn and Purdue. And they played for the national championship. So,
a lot like Auburn and Duke.
Do we see that with Auburn and Duke? And I do think the benefit for Auburn was Duke's already beaten you. So,
there is no doubt Auburn fans would love if they could replace Vanderbilt or Oklahoma. Is that Vanderbilt or Florida? No, it's Oklahoma. Oklahoma or Florida this week on the schedule and slide in a home game at Neville against Duke. They would lap that up because they think the only loss they have on their schedule happens to be Duke at Duke, right?
Right.
If that had been neutral site or at Neville Arena, they would be unbeaten right now.
Probably
clean
so.
slate, 21-0.
I'm just, how many times, though, do you pick the best team? You didn't do it last year.
I didn't. No, I had Auburn beating UConn.
I know, and you got burned on that one. I'm just saying, how often do you pick the best team, and then you get to the end and you're like, see, they were best all season long, and they're the best in the NCAA tournament.
Do you feel like you will pick Auburn again this year?
I don't know, but right now I would have, depending on, you got to wait to see how the bracket plays out, but if Auburn, Alabama, Duke, and I don't really have a fourth team yet, but if those...
Yeah, I mean, Houston lost, Iowa State lost.
If those three teams are in three separate regions, I would have all three of them, I think, in my Final Four right now.
I just don't know. I mean, we are putting a lot of stock in the SEC. It's obviously the best conference in the nation. I will not argue that one. I think it's the best conference by a long shot. I just don't know how often that translates into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
The fact that you have gone through a brutal conference, how often does that make you a better NCAA tournament team?
Yeah, let me tell you this. I know what Auburn is. I know what Duke is. I don't know how much better Auburn can play than I've seen them play at points this year. I don't know how much better Duke can play than maybe they're playing right now. I think Alabama has a gap of how much better they can play.
Well,
I think Alabama has more growth than any of the teams at the top. I think Alabama has a gear left that they could end up being the best team in the country.
One thing about Alabama is they're a little bit banged up right now.
Yeah.
And they're still playing very, very well, obviously. They just won at State and just walked Georgia off the court.
To your point, there's always, it seems like somebody's rotating out where their Phylon was questionable the other day.
I mean, he's playing with a bad ankle right now. Reed's been hurt.
Treatment at halftime, played limited minutes.
Reed's been hurt.
He's not playing great. Reed is acclimating himself back in.
Yeah. I mean, those guys aren't even really practicing, I don't think.
Jaron Stevenson has been a 0 offensively all year. If he gets going there, I mean, there are ways you can make a case for Alabama's best basketball to still be out there. So they become a scary team in the tournament.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, but that's
I really don't know who. I guess I would have Duke winning this thing right now, but I wouldn't feel great about it.
Oh, no.
But I tried to talk myself into not having UConn win it last year.
Well, I did talk myself that Auburn
You did.
would get
Well,
them.
the harder thing to do would be take your current 1 seeds off the board. And you guys had trouble even getting to another one just now because you talked about Auburn, Alabama, and Duke, and then you're like, well, Houston just lost.
Well,
Iowa State just lost 2 straight.
It was going to be Marquette for me until UConn beat them this weekend. Oh, by the way, UConn's getting good right now.
I mean, Tennessee, for what they did this weekend.
Oh, there's no way I trust that team.
I know you don't trust them, but the defense. I mean, Florida.
I don't trust Barnes, and I don't trust this Tennessee team.
Florida was 13 of 53. So Clayton goes for 10 points. All other four starters had 14 combined total points.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost impossible.
Yeah, that was the most mind-boggling game I've ever seen.
So I'm just saying Tennessee, with what they can do defensively, is kind of scary.
Until I saw Florida this weekend, that was I had them as a Final Four team.
Well, I thought Iowa State before this week.
Yeah.
Was
Iowa State got beat by Kansas State at home, ending a 29-game
Dominated.
home win streak. Texas Tech beat Houston. USC beat Michigan State. Baylor beat Kansas. Kansas gave up the biggest lead in program history to lose a game. That happened this weekend. UConn beat Marquette. Happened this weekend. Calipari goes into Kentucky. Happened this weekend. Just insanity. And it's every Saturday in basketball. Every Saturday.
I don't know why. I watched a little bit of this team yesterday, waiting for the golf to come on. Illinois, their record doesn't tell you this, but that's a good basketball
it's
team.
a really good basketball team. But, I mean, they have played
they played a brutal schedule.
Yeah. They've been beat up a little bit, but they continue to lose basketball games.
I know. Well, I mean, I think they're 15-7 right now, and they're still.
Well,
I'd have to look. Hang on. I think they're top 15 in the
Well, they've
KenPom.
got some baffling losses, like, and I know USC played well over the weekend again, but, the USC loss, the Nebraska loss, I mean, those are head-scratching losses.
I mean, they do fit, and I know Taylor later this week at some point will do the KenPom graphic. Illinois fits in there, 22nd on offense, 11th on defense. I mean, they have that metric that every national champion has had since 2002, even with a 15-7 record.
Tyler, if you will, give me cut number 6 here. You mentioned Mo Diabate. He got the hard hat again. Hard not to give it to him every week. I don't guess they give it as a feel good. They have an actual scoring system, so they just do the scoring system.
Nate doesn't just say, I'll tell you who got that hard
hat. Who overachieved today? Aiden Sherrill.
It does seem like it would be more of a Phil thing, though.
No, it's an actual stat sheet they keep up with. There's points, and you get this and that and this and that. And Grant Nelson talked about the hard hat and Mo Diabate, how he's doing. That hard hat win almost every week now.
Really, every game, my main focus is on the defensive end to stick to our assignment defensively, try to get stops. And then, I feel like the offense for us as a team kind of comes naturally. But, I just try to go out there, work as hard as I can. I try to win the blue collar, hard hat every time, but it's tough with Mo D going in there, and I don't even know what he does to get 20 every night. But, just mainly work hard. That's my main focus.
It sounds like Grant doesn't know the scoring system either.
That's right.
I don't know. He's got 20 hard hat points. I don't know how you
just like Malzahn spring game.
Yeah, that's pretty good though. Grant Nelson's I try to win the hard hat. I don't know how Mo keeps doing it.
Yeah. Interesting there for them. No midweek game. They get their midweek bye like Auburn had a couple of weeks ago. Then they're at Arkansas, at Texas, and then that home game with Auburn. Very important for them to survive those road trips to Fayetteville and to Austin to set up that big Auburn game coming up in town, which should be a lot of fun. College basketball continues tonight, including North Texas and UAB, 8 o'clock down at Bartow, Iowa State and Kansas happening tonight, and so too Virginia and Pitt in the forgotten ACC. One more thing to get to on the Super Bowl right here after. LT tells us about our great friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, 2 locations for you for lunch or dinner. Get in, see Will Haver and that incredible staff. Birmingham Institution, the original in Crestline. Odie's Team Trivia every Wednesday night there. Newest location in Edgewood. Again, Rodney Davis has been serving great food. more than 35 years, from the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, fantastic sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Get in today for lunch or dinner. Either location is Odie's Tavern.
If I said Travis Kelce breaks his own Super Bowl record for receiving yards in a Super Bowl game, would you take the over or under? 133 is the number.
Oh, I would take the under.
You would take the under.
Best defense statistically in the NFL he's about to go against, so I think I'd take the under too.
Everyone is saying that the coverage and everything for the Eagles, their best matchup will be Travis Kelce on whoever's covering the tight end there. That may be their their opportunity, and maybe Dallas Goedert same way. It may be. The people I was reading at the Athletics setting up the Super Bowl week said, we've never had a tight end win Super Bowl MVP. And they expect Goddard and Kelce to have big games. Whatever the prop bets are, take the over.
So the AFC Championship game, you didn't have the tight ends involved at all last week. But the NFC, Zach Ertz for Washington and Dallas Goedert for Philadelphia, that's all it was. I think they got combined targeted 29 times between the two. I could see that.
I'm going to say, though, most teams Kansas City plays, the bad matchup is Kelce on whoever is covering him. So this is nothing, that defensive coordinators in the NFL haven't tried to figure out how to stop the guy. And this time of year, it's just almost impossible to do it. This is when he wakes up and plays his best football.
Oftentimes when you're under pressure, if your tackles can't or your guards and centers can't hold up pass protection, sometimes the tight end is the quickest outlet to get the ball to. So an opportunity there. That's what happened when he got to 133 against my Buccaneers. Remember, they had 2 tackles injured.
Yeah.
Only way we won the game was pressuring him off the edge. And Kelce went for over 133 in a loss. Should be noted they lost the game when Kelce set the record.
I do think Kelce is going to get a lot of opportunities, because if you go back to what Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn did against this Philadelphia defense, it was just for Ertz. He had 11 grabs, over 100 yards. But it was 16 targets against that Philadelphia defense that is so good.
And then there's this stat, and I think I'm right on this. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Do you know how many, since when he's been the Chiefs defensive coordinator, do you know how many 100-yard rushers he's given up in postseason play?
0.
I guess if you're asking, it's 0.
It is 0. So
that will change.
So you think Saquon
hits the century mark? See, that's huge.
Because again, I think you can do everything you possibly can to limit him. Because trust me, Dan Quinn did it, Chris Shula and Sean McVay tried to do it. But you can hold him down for 7 or 8 plays, and then he's going to break one off.
Just one.
I mean, he's just a home run hitter.
Just having a run presence that Kansas City has to respect will slow that blitz down. See, that's what Spagnuolo does so well, right? I mean, you watch any game they play in the postseason, and you'll hear every analyst say it. The guy times out his blitzes and brings it at the perfect time every single time, it seems.
Yeah, it does work, and he's so exotic with that as well.
That's right.
All right, Brock Huard in an hour will join us to talk about Ryan Grubb's return, reuniting with Kalen DeBoer. When we come back, some more college football news out there, including Brent Venables hiring a really well-respected defensive coordinator. That's coming up on the other side of the show, being brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Back in a moment on TNR.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
New hour here, final hour of the show. Apologies on Pat Bradley. Some signals crossed. We'll catch up with the shooter coming up pretty soon. Auburn, a big winner over Ole Miss. Alabama beat Georgia. We've talked about all the outcomes. If you're looking for a big game, before I tell you about Champy's Chicken, crucial game, all of a sudden, for 2 teams that are going to make the tournament. But for seeding and all that, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock in Oxford, main ESPN. Kentucky off a loss at home, on the road at Ole Miss.
Oof. Ole Miss.
That's a pretty big game for both those teams in their trajectory of where they're headed.
Yeah, Ole Miss badly needs to get this thing turned around. Since they beat Alabama, their only win is Texas, right?
Yeah, and they will not be a ranked team after, I guess, this morning, right?
Yeah, it comes up in about an hour. We'll get a new AP poll out that should have Auburn unanimous 1 and Alabama at number 3 in the country. We'll see how the AP voters end up voting. But that's a pretty big game for both those are tournament teams, but last time before the loss to Auburn this past weekend, I saw Ole Miss hovering around a 6 seed.
Man, their schedule has just been brutal.
Yep,
brutal.
Look at Alabama's down the stretch.
Oh, it's. I'll give it to you right now. I got it in front of me.
I think it's all
as
quad
you go
ones.
through that. So back to Ole Miss though. The Mississippi State game, that was a overtime loss by 3 in Starkville. Then you lose by 1 to A&M. Lose by 8 in Columbia to Missouri. You beat Texas, and then you lose double digits against Auburn.
Yep.
So Alabama's finish, they're at Arkansas, at Texas, their next 2. And then, as everyone knows, the 15th, Auburn at home, at Missouri, who I guess is just not going away, guys. I guess everybody just got Missouri wrong.
Sole possession of third place
behind Bama and Auburn, yeah.
2 games out of first.
You get Kentucky in the return visit after the road trip to Missouri. You get State in the return visit. You're at Tennessee. You host Florida, and you're at Auburn. What an absurd schedule for Alabama down the stretch. I mean, once they get to that Auburn game, it is everybody right now is in the top 20. They will not be there when Alabama plays them in all likelihood, but currently every single team Alabama has, once they get to the 15th, is in the top 20.
I mean, after that stretch, by the time you are going, you may be marching into Nashville in the SEC tournament with a guy with a piccolo, a bandage on his head, carrying the flag.
So Mark Sears playing the drum and
old reference.
You'll thank God that you get to Nashville and just get to play on a neutral court after the remainder of this schedule.
Fun stretch coming up. Only 4 more Alabama home games, which I assume either 5 or 6 Auburn home games until the home season's over with. So go. Not that you're not going to the games anyway. Packed at both places all the time, but just a few more chances to see these teams play on their home court.
One more note about upcoming games. We've already mentioned this game today, Clemson and Duke, because I am personally pulling for Alabama and Auburn to win the remainder of their games before they play, and Clemson to beat Duke, so that we can get a 1-2 Alabama-Auburn game. I think it would be really cool. But that Clemson-Duke game, ESPN has just announced Dick Vitale will return for his first game in 2 years for that game, which is pretty cool, man. That guy has battled cancer. There are very few people have done more to raise money to beat cancer.
Hey, what is Dick now, 85?
That is a great question. I don't know his age.
I think he's 85.
But he'll be back on the game, Duke and Clemson, 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock our time, on ESPN Saturday. So it'll be cool to see him back on something he loves that much.
Yeah. Our friends at Champy's, we love so much. Champy'sChicken.com. Sterling and the crew down there. Hope you had a chance on Friday or Saturday to swing by Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's that time of year, man, when the weather's going to be high 70s all week long. Good time to get out, enjoy lunch outside, enjoy the patio there at Champy's. Get the to-go order. Take your wife or girlfriend or somebody on a picnic. All that works when the to-go window at Champy'sChicken.com. Champy'sChicken.com. Brined overnight, cooked to order fried chicken, hand-cut chicken fingers, and the great Mississippi Delta recipes, tamales. Man, those pictures make your mouth water. It's so good. Nothing like it anywhere. It's Champy's, world-famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Everybody in the chat in disbelief that Lance just nailed that on the fly. 85 is how old Vitale is.
Yeah.
You remain so good at that. I don't know how you do it. Like, I've watched Vitale forever. I would have guessed in his 80s, but...
And really, his fastball to me was in the 80s.
I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, that was back before you saw really, I can call him flamboyant, right?
Yeah.
Flamboyant color guys on broadcast.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Dandy Don back in the day, but you just didn't have a lot of those guys. And he was really the first. I mean, he brought so much awareness to college basketball.
He did.
I mean, I can remember being a fraternity guy sitting there going, oh, he's a diaper dandy.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of his?
Yep.
Diaper dandy?
Diaper dandy, yeah. He'd always...
we don't want to get into his great moments because that sounds like he's passed.
No, he's not. He's actually coming back.
He's actually returning.
Yeah.
But diaper dandy, what was another one? He was a...
PTPer. Primetime player.
Yeah, he's a PTPer, man.
Yep.
Primetime player.
No, I love... people like... Corso and Vitale. I've always loved Lee Corso, and everybody's like, you got to retire Corso. You can't let him keep doing this. I'm for letting him do it as long as he wants. It's because Lee Corso...
So is game day.
So is game day, and more importantly, Lee Corso loves... I feel like when I watch it, Lee Corso loves college football the way I do.
Yeah.
Like, he loves the college football Saturday like I do.
And that's the same with Vitale.
Yeah.
I mean, Vitale's got all the money in the world. I mean, he wants to come back because he wants to be around the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go out on your own terms, right?
And
it's
that's
always the best way to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, when I watch Corso, that man loves college football. Does he stumble over his words? Yes. Is he hard to understand? Sometimes, yes. But he's doing what he loves. And is it making your Saturday worse that Lee Corso's up there talking? No, it's making my Saturday better, in fact.
Yeah.
Like, I love the joy it brings him to put on that headgear and make that pick at the end of game day.
Okay, here's my question, college football question of the morning. Brent Venables, you know they went after Jim Knowles. I guess it wasn't officially public, but it seemed like it was very public. They were trying to get him as the Oklahoma defensive coordinator. So Brent Venables moved to who I assume he thought was the second best defensive coordinator candidate in college football. Brent Venables hired Brent Venables as the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Is this a smart move by Venables or a desperate move by Venables, in your opinion? Lance, you first.
I mean, look, he's, we talk about this all the time. You bring in a guy like a Gus Malzahn, it's all about his offense, and then he wants to have somebody else call the plays. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's one of the reasons he got the job. The same with Venables, and you couldn't get the guy that you wanted, so Venables knows that he is coaching for his Oklahoma career. Maybe not this year, maybe gets this year and another, but, I mean, these games are becoming critical for him, so, hey, put it in your own hands.
I think it is just in college more so than the pros. It is so difficult to be a play-calling head coach, a signal-calling head coach. There's just so much that goes along with being a head coach. You just got to be elite to be able to do both. And the vast majority of coaches we would call elite didn't call their own plays, either on offense or defense. Nick Saban never did it, and I'd say that's a pretty good guy to emulate, right? Ryan Day just won the national championship. He let Chip Kelly call the plays.
Dabo never did it.
On offense, Dabo has never done it. He's always been the head coach that allows his assistants to do it.
How much is Kirby involved with Schumann? I know he's involved.
He's right there in his ear, but Schumann's the one that is calling the plays. Kirby is being a head coach. You could go just coach to coach to coach to coach. And
see, I've always believed this. I always believe what you're saying. That
Urban Meyer. I go back to Urban Meyer. He was a great offensive coach, but Mullen called the plays, I believe. I don't think Urban Meyer called the plays.
Yeah.
I just think, Jim, there is so much involved with being a head coach. It is really difficult to do this.
Okay, I'm just the opposite of you then. I thought you were making my case. I believe that that I've got to delegate some other things. If I am a brilliant mind, then I've got to be involved with the defense. If I'm a brilliant mind, if I'm Kalen DeBoer and I'm a brilliant offensive mind, I've got to be involved in the offense. I'm too good of an offensive mind not to be involved.
I think Kirby is heavily involved, as Lance said. Schumann's calling the plays, but you see Kirby right there next to him.
Yeah.
When he's calling the plays. I know he's involved.
Yeah.
But
Venables calling the defensive plays does not bother me.
When
now, what scares me is the reputation of Venables is the reason he was such a good defensive coordinator is because he was able legally to observe things about your signal calling.
That's the book on him.
And you're able to then design your defense on what you think's being called. Some people just have that ability naturally. And so if that is it, and we've got the headsets now, maybe he will not be as an effective defensive coordinator as he has been in the past.
That is so funny that you've heard that about him, because I know for a fact the same person that told me what you just said did not tell you.
Yeah.
Because you don't know this person.
Right.
You would not have talked to this person. But in relation to the Alabama-Oklahoma game, I had somebody tell me, he's like, that what made Venables so good at Clemson, and this person that told me this absolutely would know this. What made Venables so good at Clemson, don't you? I was like, no. He's like, talent was one thing, but he's like, the guy was the single best sign stealer in all of football. He was like a savant at stealing signs. He could have a team signs midway through the first quarter, and he taught his staff to do it, and they became really good at doing it too. And
there'll be people like this throughout the history of the game and of the world. Like in World War II, Navy ships would have guys with big binoculars that would look across the way and read signals from other ships to decode things for our own ships communicating between each other, so they wouldn't have to use radios.
Yeah, and I said, but we don't. There's no signs anymore. I said, I said, Kane Womack is, he's just radioing the play in to Jihad Campbell or to Deontay Lawson or whoever. He goes, but I will tell you this. He said, if in fact Jalen Milroe was tipping plays, the one coach that would have caught it first would be Brent Venables.
Yeah.
He said, I can promise you that.
Well, that 3 spot didn't look good in Norman, did it?
Yeah, it did not. In hindsight, I tend to believe what the guy's saying. So I say all that to say, this does not excite me if I'm an Oklahoma fan. Because what does Glenn Schumann do when his defense comes off the field? Does he stand there and watch the offense?
No, he goes back there with him, but Kirby goes with him sometimes.
Sometimes. And famously, Mike Gundy used to actually go sit with his back turned towards the field when his offense came off. He didn't even watch his defense play.
Yeah. Mike Shula did too.
Did he really?
Yeah, sometimes when in Tuscaloosa.
I don't know. I don't like this if I'm an Oklahoma fan. I want you to go get a good defensive coordinator. And you're going to be in his ear, and you're a good defensive mind. You're going to help him.
Yeah, I like it. If I'm going to go down, I want to go down with what I'm really good at, which in Brent's case would be as a defensive coordinator, calling plays. If I can't get the guy everyone thinks is the best, Jim Knowles, I don't want to hire a lesser than. It doesn't mean there's not other defensive assistants that won't be helping him do all the work that has to be done during the week. But on game day, I want to go with my gut, man. I want to roll it. Just like with Hugh Freeze, man. If he's not calling plays, why is he my head coach?
I mean, that's why you hired him.
Yeah.
But do you think Oklahoma hired Venables because they wanted him calling the defense?
I don't know, but they wanted the results that he had at Clemson.
Yeah, they did want those results.
He was an Oklahoma guy, too.
Well, I think that's why they hired him,
heyday.
is because he had been there.
Yeah, he was there with Stoops.
Like, he's another one of those guys. If he had never coached at Oklahoma, I don't know that they consider him for that head coaching job.
I would agree. I don't know if that would have been who you picked off the pile there. I always felt that way about Gus Malzahn, too.
That's 100%.
Yeah. And when they elevated Mike Dubose to be the head coach, I was like, God, that's going to hurt Alabama because he was so good at what he did as an assistant. I was like, they're not going to be able to replace him on the backside as Mike Dubose won't be able to replace Mike Dubose on the staff for the quality. I mean, I felt like then you could find a better head coach. You're not going to find a better assistant than Mike Dubose.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens sometimes.
Turns out he was a good assistant.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good. Then he was a head coach, yeah. Really good. College football there for you as we get ready for Super Bowl tonight, by the way, it used to be Media Day, but they call it something else now. Opening night, I think they call it, at the Super Bowl site, which is where?
It is in New Orleans.
It is in New Orleans.
Yeah, I saw our buddy T-Bob and Hester doing their show from Super Bowl Radio Row.
Yeah.
Sounds miserable to me, but they seem to be excited about being there.
A lot of people walk by there to do interviews, and they'll sit down. Right guard. And it's like,
you've never had any desire to go there, have you?
Absolutely zero desire to go to Radio Row.
A lot of the interviews we would get would be, all right, here's 8 minutes with Marshall Faulk, and you've got to talk about right guard.
Yeah.
Is right guard still a thing?
But you can get them off of that.
Yeah.
Remember we had
right guard is a thing.
Tony Mandarich when we were out for Clemson, Alabama.
Yeah, what was he pimping? He was pimping something. I remember that.
Some kind of Mr. Miyagi goo you put on yourself and it heals you. I don't remember. Something like that.
Oh, it was. It was Blue
Emu? Was that it?
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
It might have been the Blue Emu, yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, I've never had any desire whatsoever to do it. I don't know that we've ever had the option. I don't know that we've ever been invited, or I guess we could do it if we wanted to, but I don't particularly want to.
I mean, if we were in a NFL market, I'm sure we would have done it.
Yeah.
Before Brownie tells me about the golf, college football season is 201 days away today. Last year, we started the season off in Dublin. Game day was there, Florida State, Georgia Tech.
We thought it was a massive upset.
Hey, that was a fun game.
Yeah.
I do know that.
I'm going to say game day doesn't go to Dublin to start the season this year.
We already know who the Dublin game is.
We do.
Yeah.
I know who the Dublin game is.
Well, they announced it.
I'm asking, do you guys know who it is?
I remember them announcing it. I want to say it was Northwestern in Iowa.
Oddly, you're somehow close, but not.
Northwestern's
you got neither
team.
Oh, I was going to say you got to have both. One of the teams if you're close, right?
No, you're oddly,
I'm oddly close.
When you have the names, you're oddly close, but
okay.
But they got neither team right.
All right.
I do not know who's going to be in Dublin.
Iowa State, because you said Iowa.
Yeah, that is oddly close.
And the other team is purple, like Northwestern. Kansas State. Iowa State, Kansas State to start the year in Dublin.
Do you have, well, I guess those are small stadiums. I was going to say, do you have enough fans that will travel over? I know Kansas State's got a pretty passionate base of fans.
Well, it was a subreddit on college football Reddit. Somebody says, I'm going to be in Ireland, but I'm not a fan of Iowa State, Kansas State. Can just neutral fans go to the game?
No, you're barred.
And somebody posted, they'll probably have tickets at local pubs. You could walk into that.
Yeah.
Begging you to come to that one,
Used to
buddy.
be a big battle in the Big 12 North.
Yeah. Yeah, that one does not fire me up too much.
But good teams last year.
So you don't think game day will go over for that?
I don't think they will.
I don't
really?
think so.
I don't think so. I think it's a week 0 game, but
no, it is. It is a week 0. I remember last year that
I think they'll do a studio game.
I don't know that they had announced it yet, but I just remember last year when that game ended, we were watching it at the floor of BAMA. I do remember that. And when that game ended, they had the ribbon boards, Yep. And it already had the matchup. I don't even know that it had been announced, but it was like purchase tickets for the 2025 Emerald Classic or whatever they call it. And it said Iowa State, Kansas State. And I remember looking at that thinking, I know Georgia Tech, Florida State wasn't like a battle of the Titans.
You know what
but that was
Iowa
even
State
worse.
and a Kansas State fan can't get? A direct flight.
That's true. It's going to be harder to get there. You should fly out of Atlanta, right?
Tell us about Golfus, and then Brian Passing has sent in a little information on what we were talking about earlier. Give me Golfus.
Oh, Passing making us smarter, huh? The Golfus is the home of Birmingham's best golf simulators, and it is always 70 degrees in the Golfus. It is never raining. There is never any wind. Look, we got good weather this week for golf, but just look ahead to the week after that. It's going to be bad weather. Go ahead and book a bay at the Golfus and enjoy your time there playing courses that you have seen for years, more than hundreds of courses that you've seen on TV, you've always wanted to play, maybe even one you saw this weekend on the PGA Tour. You could do that at the Golfus. Virtual golf at its finest. Bring your own food, bring your own drink, bring your own clubs. Parties up to 50. They've got TVs there so you can watch the game while you play at the Golfus. And it's a great place to get out of the office and have that office meeting there. So get out of the office and get in the Golfus. TheGolfus.com. TheGolfus.com to book a bay or find more information about the Golfus.
Now that Passing has sent this in, and he ends it with an I think, but I remember
backing off already.
I remember this stat. You probably will be able to Google and check it.
All right.
Last year was the first time the number one overall seed went on to win the NCAA tournament since Louisville did it in 2013.
Oh, wow.
And I think I do remember that stat as I watched UConn win it.
Well, now, the number one overall seed's a fairly new phenomenon, right? Like the NCAA didn't always do that. They would just give you their number ones. They have just now started, I say just now, within the last 20 years or so, just started revealing their S-curve.
Weird. I thought Kansas was that 3 years ago.
Yeah, Google it. He does say I think. Probably shouldn't have said his name out loud with an I think. But I appreciate Passing so much.
Okay, here you go. Well, this goes back to 2019. Dang.
Was 2019 not the year that Baylor beat Gonzaga?
Hang on now.
19 tournament was when Auburn made it to the Final Four.
See, this is just
it would be 21.
This is just giving me one seeds that have won it, not even overall ones that have won
just
it.
go
I got to
one
find the
seeds.
overall. Well, this is only through 2019, so you have to help me after that. This is the last one. It is.
And we were discussing this because I was asking these guys early on, a little over a month away from filling out your bracket. How do you not have Auburn versus Duke playing for the championship right now, other than chaos happens in the tournament?
So since the tournament expanded to 64, 20 of 34 national champions had been a one seed through 2018.
20 of how many?
34? 20 of 34. 2019, Virginia won it. They were a one seed. We didn't have a tournament in 20. UConn has won 2 as a one seed, so that's at least 3. So, I mean, it's pretty common that the one seed.
Was UConn a one seed the first time Hurley
Maybe
won
not.
it? Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm overstating that.
All right, we'll do a little research on that.
Yeah.
I when I saw Passing send it in, I didn't see the I think. I should have put I think out there. Everybody forget what happened in the last 4 minutes.
I may actually have it now. Let me see what this is updated through. I think it's updated through last year. Most champions, 33 of 38 of the NCAA tournament, were 1, 2, or 3 seeds.
Okay.
That's pretty. I mean, but that's a pretty big number. 33 of 38. You're either a 1 through 3, right?
I'll need you to screen grab that and send that to me, so I'll need to remember that when I'm filling out my bracket. That's one of those that I probably should know before I jump in there.
Yeah.
And make a pick.
31 of the last 34, 1, 2, or 3 seeds. So 63% of the time it has been a 1 seed since tournament expansion. All these are going to go back to basically since we expanded to the 64-team field.
Right.
Connecticut was actually a 4 seed in 2023, so you were correct about that.
Yeah, I thought that was the case.
Yeah. But since COVID, you've had 1 seed Baylor that won it all. 1 seed Kansas. Didn't you say you thought Kansas was the 1 seed?
Yeah, I thought they were the number 1 overall.
Again, they may not be the overall one, but they were just 1 seeds. They've won it all. So
and the year Baylor won it, Gonzaga was definitely the number 1 overall.
I remember
but
that.
I think Baylor was number 2.
Yeah. So it's hard to win that thing. We've always said it's the toughest championship to win, because you got to beat. Usually, if you're a 1 seed, you got to beat 4 really good teams, 1 pretty good one, and you get a usually a gimme in the opener, unless you're Virginia. usually a gimme in the opener. So
well, I mean, Virginia had a gimme in the opener. They just threw up all over their sneakers with it.
Yeah. But we have a lot of basketball left, including tonight with a couple of big games in UAB at home in town. Go Pack Bartow tonight, 8 o'clock for that. One NFL note, after I remind you, the show is being brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. Tell us about Hemphill.
Yeah, make the phone call if you're experiencing any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues. Trust the name Birmingham's trusted since 1954. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, ready to serve you. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. Trust that name Birmingham's trusted since 1954. Hard to stop a train. For more information, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
All right, so first off, Jamar Chase is up for an extension this year. He's eligible for an extension, and everyone is watching to see if the Bengals will give him a contract extension like the Cowboys did CeeDee Lamb and like the Vikings did Justin Jefferson. If they don't, it could open up the door for Jamar Chase not to be a Bengal very soon. In that extension, he said at the Pro Bowl this past weekend, I just want what's fair. What's fair. And he put up unbelievable numbers this year. Iconic wide receiver numbers.
Well, his numbers have gotten better. If you're just looking at pure grabs every year from 81 to 87 to 100 to 127 this year, over 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. I'll tell you what, if I'm Joe Burrow, I know I'm making a lot of money, and sometimes we see quarterbacks that restructure deals based on their ability to keep key parts. Jamar Chase is more than a key part. If Cincinnati, and look, the only reason they were in postseason conversation was because the offense was so dynamic and so explosive. But if they don't have Jamar Chase,
Joe Burrow has said we should do everything we can to keep Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
I think kind of what you're saying, Lance, is if I'm Joe Burrow, I go to ownership and our defense is so bad that Jamar and I. People were talking about me winning the MVP, guys, and we didn't even make the playoffs. And I was talking about winning the. How do you think I almost won the MVP, missed the playoffs with Jamar Chase?
Without Burrow, they're probably like a 1-16, 2-15 team.
And without Chase,
Chase and with Burrow, they're probably like a 4 or 5 win team.
And with Burrow and Chase, they almost made the playoffs with statistically one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I think, and I'll tell you another thing that will magnify this look will be Saquon leaving New York to go to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You just can't allow a guy like Jamar Chase with that kind of talent to get out.
So the Bengals are being reported they're going to have to reset the market. You see right now they're showing cap space. Look at all the cap space though.
Yeah, so the average cap space right now is $31 million because the projected total cap has gone up to $275 million. And when you look at the Bengals right now where they are on this, they've got almost $50 million in cap space, which is a lot more than the league average. So they've got money to spend. Now, I think their focus is going to be two things. It's going to be keeping Jamar Chase, and it's going to be getting that defense better.
And in case you wonder why the Saints still don't have a head coach, their cap space is minus $51 million, dead last in the NFL.
So they've got it cut.
Well, you've got a bad quarterback situation and minus $51 million in cap space.
That's a problem.
Yeah. That is a bit of a problem. And clearly, I guess, they're going to hire the offensive coordinator from Philadelphia, Kellen Moore, right? I mean, is that pretty clear right now?
Yeah, I mean, you don't make that hire until after the game on Sunday, but yes, more than likely.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Kellen Moore is going to take that job, and God bless Kellen Moore.
Now, if I'm Kellen Moore, hey, look, man, Chip Kelly just got $6 million.
Yeah.
Like, what can we work where I don't leave you guys?
That's right, if we win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or even if we just play in the Super Bowl.
But I would just, if I'm Kellen Moore, based on that roster, I would rather make, millions of dollars and pick and choose a better job next year than New Orleans. New Orleans is built to fail.
Yeah, for the near future.
Like, I don't think Sean McVay could make New Orleans work.
Yeah, it takes a while to get out of that cap. I mean, if you don't have cap space in a roster that's good already, you're in a bad spot.
Their best quarterback situation is Spencer Rattler? True or false?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's a terrible quarterback situation.
To put a cap in on Jamar Chase's conversation, we all agreed that the Bengals should pay him, give him an extension. That would look like CeeDee Lamb, 4 years, $34 million a year, and about $80 million in guarantee money.
Yeah,
or
I think
Justin Jefferson, $35 million a year. With about $87 million in guaranteed.
I mean, if I'm representing Jamar Chase, I think most people would say that Justin Jefferson is kind of the bar, but because it is the newest deal, I want my guy, the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, and he's going to get that.
And that just doesn't usually That's not usually what the Bengals do.
I know you're absolutely right about that. But how crazy would it be if your top two paid wide receivers are those two 2019 LSU receivers? Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. God, that offense. And then Burrow was the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, that offense was just incredible.
Really, really good. All right, trash when we come back on the other side.
And it was Thaddeus Moss. I was going to say Mason Taylor, making noise at the Senior Bowl. I was like, and Mason Taylor was like a freshman, but it was actually Thaddeus Moss.
Okay.
Thaddeus Moss there. All right, when we come back, we'll get to trash today and still remember a little longer show today because Brock Huard is going to join us at 12 noon-ish to talk to us about Ryan Grubb's return to Tuscaloosa. This time, he's staying. He's coming to actually coach with the Crimson Tide. Brock's got that in about 32 minutes with us right here on the next round. We're back in a moment.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239 Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Back with you on the next round as we roll on today. Show number 880 here. Trash coming up in just a second. Quick Google search proves that Brian Passing is correct.
Oh, yeah?
The last number 1 overall seed to win the NCAA tournament was Louisville in 2013. That was Pitino, right? That was Rick Pitino.
Yeah,
that's when he got the tattoo, right?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
They beat Michigan.
Yep, that was a really good team. UConn did it last year, so Louisville's first one since UConn doing it last year. So thank you to Passing for that little bit of NCAA tournament knowledge. Right now, that team will be Auburn if the tournament starts today after their big win over Ole Miss. Alabama got the win over Georgia. They're midweek bye this week. And a couple of interesting basketball games. What does Florida do at home when Vandy comes to town tomorrow night? That Vandy team continues to be pretty good, too. So much fun in the SEC. We'll get back to basketball and Brock Huard coming up a little bit later on. Let's see. Shohei Ohtani still on schedule to pitch in May. Not that they need him to pitch anymore, but still on schedule for him to pitch in May.
Is he going to be a starter? Are they going to bring him out? He said before he doesn't want to come out of the bullpen, right?
Yeah, he said he doesn't want to come out of the pen. I don't know.
I
guess.
Where would you start him?
I mean, he was freaking, 2 years ago was dominant.
Yeah, well, I know that, but look at your starting rotation right now. What would he be in your starting rotation?
God, where would he be in rotation?
Well, if he's at his best, he's one of the best.
Absolutely, yeah. He would be a 1 for most teams.
Well, for most teams, but people are talking about the Dodgers have assembled the best pitching rotation we've ever seen. Some people are saying that.
Yeah.
The people are saying.
5 starters. I don't know if they were 5 aces. I don't know if they were counting Ohtani as that ace when he eventually comes back.
Yeah, I think they were.
I do too. And then there's what we saw in golf over the weekend. Rory McIlroy wins at Pebble Beach. $3.6 million for the win at Pebble. Could this be the year Rory breaks out now that all the pressure is off of him? What's the one he's missing? The Masters?
It is the Masters. Why would you say pressure is off of him?
Well, because
I think it only gets worse.
I mean, for a
couple, because you
of,
only have so many more opportunities.
But for a couple of years, he was also carrying, the PGA Tour water against the LIV, and he was.
That does seem to have died down.
He had had a high-profile relationship with another high-profile athlete that ended up going away. And that was a drama before that. He always seemed like he had a bunch of drama going on that wasn't always about his golf game.
Yeah.
And now it's just about his golf game. And he plays really good golf. He looked really good at Pebble Beach. And I know that doesn't translate to Augusta, but do you feel like he still has some really great golf in his future?
He does. No, absolutely.
Like
does.
Could he do what Scheffler did last year?
Yeah, I mean, Rory could, absolutely. When he's on his game, he's one of the best in the world. He is the best in the world.
What is he ranked right now?
I'd have to look at the world golf rankings.
I mean, I know that's not the end-all, be-all, but he's a top 5 guy, right?
Well, if he and Scheffler aren't 1 and 2, I'd be stunned.
Yeah.
But I'd have to go look at the official world golf rankings.
Well, I mean, here they are right here.
Scheffler would be 1, right?
Yeah.
Should be, yeah.
9 of 21.
Scheffler is 1. Schauffele is 2.
Schauffele.
Rory's 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Still, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. He's the king of the backdoor top 5 at Augusta. Like, you go back and look at his record there, and you're like, boy, he's been close. Yeah, but go look at his Sundays. Generally at Augusta, Rory plays his way out of the tournament and then shoots like a 63 on Sunday and gets the backdoor top 5. He's got to avoid that blow-up round that he has every single time there. He's going to be one of the favorites, though, no doubt.
One more NFL note. After I tell you about Storm Restoration Roofing, and then we'll get to trash. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. Antonio London II. Antonio London is now part of the Storm Restoration Roofing family. I saw Greg officially announce that on his social media over the weekend. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531. The growing company that is locally owned for over 2 decades. He and his wife Andrea own the company, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. And right now, insurance has sort of changed the way they cover your home, your roof, when it comes to storm damage or roof replacements, especially if you've got an older roof, older than 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. You want to get that roof checked out. And Greg actually will come out and sit down with you and explain to you what your coverage has, what's changed, what you need to do. He sort of can just be your sort of source of information when it comes to your insurance coverage, when it comes to your roof. He's an expert. And there you see the little introduction of Antonio London there, a part of the family there at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pelt City on Facebook, A+ rated is Storm Restoration.
You see where they
Roofing.
shake that deal?
Right in the center of the Next Round logo.
Yeah, that's strong as oak, right?
That's right. Yep, that one doesn't fail.
You don't need to sign a contract on that. If your hands meet right in the center of the Next Round logo.
Do you think that was planned? Do you think Greg staged it that way?
Well, he does have a Next Round hat on.
He
so
does.
Yeah.
I mean, you think Greg's like, okay, let's do it so it's right in the next.
I'm going to assume he sent that picture to Dunaway?
No, posted it on social media.
Okay.
And I reposted it on mine. Yeah, so good picture. We appreciate Greg a lot. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. All right. The NFL is considering first down technology. For years, they've had a chip in the football. But this isn't going to be, if they go into it next year, it's not going to be what we think it's going to be. Still marked by humans on the field, they would mark the football, and then first down technology would let us know whether it's a first down or not. So you wouldn't have to bring the chains out anymore. It'd be a quicker call, first down, not a first down, any of that. We've already fixed that a lot by usually moving it to the nearest hash mark.
Yeah, they almost never measure. It's got to be a critical situation.
I do like the dramatic measure once every 3 or 4 games that you watch, but I don't know if we'll miss it that much.
So they're considering this for next year off of what happened in the Chiefs-Bills game. But as every NFL insider points out, the way they're considering doing it would not have changed that call because they went by the human marking of the football, and that's what they would still do.
That's right.
And the way they do it in the UFL and the way the technology is built to do is like in tennis or eventually the strike zone in baseball, where if that chip breaks that line on the computer, it is a first down. And that's where the mark is going and where the chip got there. They've been using that chip technology for a couple of years now, and according to one NFL insider, it doesn't live up to the level we need it to live up to yet. And that's what one NFL insider says. So the chip marking technology, they don't believe is at the level
So
they
what
need
could
it
go
to be
wrong with
at.
the chip technology? It's not accurate?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. It's not living up to
Well, that's a problem.
No, that's a huge problem. Yeah, that's why it's not in the NFL. Yeah,
But they're using it in the UFL and, lesser stakes. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
I don't know if they're using that information as well, that it's coming up a little wrong or a little short. But they're not comfortable with it on the NFL level. But again, they've been tracking this. They've already got the technology in some stadiums anyway to do just what we do in tennis. And the tennis folks say it's extremely accurate on the ins and outs of the balls. In soccer, whether the ball is completely across the line, they use it. In baseball, we're going to do the strike zone pretty soon. And they've been pretty happy with the strike zone.
Yeah, I
in
was going
baseball.
to go back to tennis. Not that I watch a lot, but you'll see on the graphic, it'll show right there on the line where the ball is. And if the technology is that good in tennis, I would think that the money invested in the NFL is so much more than tennis.
Smaller court than the field, but you're right. It's just a matter of getting the thing set up.
But, I mean, I think it would be most valuable at the goal line. Like, did the ball break the plane? Well, the chip will tell you if the ball broke the plane or not. Now, the difference in football and a sport like tennis is, were his knees down when the ball touched the plane? Or
See, I think it's more on first downs, Brown. I mean, I know the goal line is the touchdown, but don't you feel like we get that right more times than we get it wrong? But we sometimes miss the first down marking more than we do.
But you should be able to.
See what I'm trying to say? It feels like we mess up what we messed up in the Chiefs-Bills game, if you're a Bills fan. Then we mess up on whether or not he broke the plane or not.
Oh, I tend to agree with you. Again, that was the whole deal, was which ref marked it. The ref coming in from the top of the screen had it as a first down. The ref coming in from the near side was marking it short, and the guy from the near side was the one that caught the ball. So he marked it where he was, and it was short of the first down.
See, I almost want this to happen. I'm not usually a technology guy. Let's move forward. But but I'm always a quick I want to get the first down right.
Well, you guys, I mean, both of y'all have said you're fine keeping umpires in baseball that miss strikes.
Yeah.
Even if a robot or technology could call it perfectly, y'all are okay with the human error in there.
I don't care about baseball as much as I do. That's true. I mean, I go to a baseball game occasionally to yell at the umpires, like I do at a basketball game.
You can't yell at a computer,
Yeah.
can you?
I don't want computers calling basketball.
I've seen Lance yell at a computer.
I mean, I go to a basketball game to yell at the officials. Those guys never get a call right. I mean, sit by any basketball fan and tell me they think the officiating is good. Never.
Well, they spend enough time at the monitor. It ought to be.
Never that good. Pat Adams owns the monitor.
Oh, boy, he
he's
gets
the
a lot of
best.
criticism.
All right, let's do trash. It is brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Hit it, Tyler. Let's go, man.
Hey, your old man passed away, right?
Oh, wow. No, not yet.
Oh, I thought he did. I thought the judge was dead.
My brother died.
Oh, yeah.
My brother died.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, it is buying season always. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take those next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You get more information, go to their website, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call that Highway 280 office, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Brown offbeat holidays in February.
I love these, Jim. Don't you?
I actually do.
I do too.
I do too.
February 4th, create a vacuum day.
Like a vacuum in space or a vacuum cleaner?
I would think in space, I would guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't think
See,
you're...
I thought it was vacuum cleaner, but
Yeah.
I have no idea what create a vacuum.
Maybe
is
you're
supposed
asking us to do a little more background on this.
That's
Tyler.
right, Tyler. Let us know.
I would say that create a vacuum could be find your own little space in your inner world that you can be at peace with yourself. Is that what we're talking about? Maybe
I don't
That
think
doesn't sound
so.
like a vacuum to me, but maybe.
As
think
Tyler
it's-
Hunt sat down, do you have it already?
It is a day to explore the science of vacuums and create them using household items. So,
That sounds
I
like a
was right.
vacuum cleaner to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
I
I'm
don't
out.
think I would. You
Yeah.
know what I actually have at the house is a vacuum cleaner. I don't have to create.
I'm not going to do the next one either. February 7th. So when is February 7th? Is that Friday?
What is today? Today's the third.
Yeah. February 7th is Work Naked Day.
Hard pass on that one, too.
So I'll be StreamYarding from the house.
Now I got to circle this one for
You're
Lance's
doing
Lock.
another 12-hour stream, Jim.
Big
So to speak.
February 8th, Saturday, is Laugh and Get Rich Day.
Patty the office chick. Patty the office chick had a good laugh. Or still does. Not still with us, by the way. Patty has not passed.
February 16th, do a Grouch a Favor Day.
I feel like I do that 9 to 12 every day.
February 23rd,
Yes, I does.
International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day.
I guess the dogs would celebrate. I've never had a dog biscuit, personally.
They love them, though.
Dogs do.
Yeah, oh yeah. And February 24th is Tortilla Chip Day. Big fan of the tortilla
I eat
chip.
those often.
Yeah.
And, I thought of Lance. I think I had Mexican 3 times, maybe 4 times last week.
Wow.
I know it was 3. It might have been 4.
I don't know if I had it last week for the first
Wow,
time ever.
that is-
No, I had
that's
it
the
once.
upside,
I had it
yeah.
once.
Well, I eat a lot of Mexican.
Are you guys fans of Cinnabon?
I don't think I've ever actually had a Cinnabon. I only see them connected to Schlotsky's Deli.
Yeah, there is one out there near us that's connected to Schlotsky's.
I don't really love cinnamon rolls. So Cinnabon, it was great to smell in the mall. I didn't really eat them.
Our man Saul worked there. Better
He
call
did.
Saul.
He did.
Yeah.
I tend to like a Cinnabon, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love cinnamon rolls.
Well, someone really likes them. They had quite the desire for a cinnamon roll. They broke into Perimeter Mall to get one. Their attempt at getting the warm Cinnabon was thwarted by the Dunwoody Police Department. Now, in a Facebook post, department acknowledged how tempting the cinnamon roll can be, but said it's not worth breaking into the mall for.
I agree with that.
Quote, "We get it. Cinnabons can be tempting, but breaking into Perimeter Mall for a midnight snack and stealing Cinnabons is just not smart, not in Dunwoody." Now, because of their craving, someone is heading to jail. Those do look really good, by the way.
That's that's their stock photo there. I'm not sure that's what you get at your local Cinnabon.
You remember in, oh my gosh, Falling Down. Michael Douglas, and he was so pissed about this burger does not look like that burger.
Yeah.
I had one of the best visual burgers yesterday.
Best visual?
Yeah, like when it came out, the presentation, it looked like something you would see in a magazine.
Really?
Yeah, and you just don't see that a lot with food.
Was there a photo on the menu?
No, not at all.
So you didn't know what you were getting? And
No, it was just a
like,
one-off restaurant down on the coast. But it was like it was one of those you could take a picture of and you'd be like, damn, I would put this on the menu, which you just don't see that a lot.
There's a cinnamon roll place that's close to Brown and LT's place that they only do cinnamon rolls, and they actually do look like those in the picture.
They do?
Really good-looking cinnamon
They're
rolls.
Public shopping center?
Yeah, they're very large, and I love cinnamon rolls, Tyler. And I went in there one time and got it, and it's not that it was bad and made me sick. It was so much. I ate the whole thing, and I felt awful.
Okay, but if you cut it up, would it be worth it?
Yeah, I think so. But they got a bunch of different varieties.
Yeah, they have some with like Snickers and Twix on there and stuff like
I
that.
I went standard traditional.
I don't eat it enough to get all exotic with my cinnamon roll.
Yeah, I just like
it was funny. I was in a
cinnamon.
random. I ended up in a random market on Friday night, and this girl. It was called Rouse's. Have you guys ever heard of a Rouse's market?
I've seen them.
Well, there's only like 5 or 6, but she was explaining. She was like, you can get a king cake at Target, but you can't get the variety of king cake we've got here at Rouse's.
Well, I tell you
I'm
what.
just thinking, is that something that's going to bring me in off the street?
I mean, once a year, I'm going to come get my king cake from you. King cake's just one of those things that I think is overrated.
Even if you had like a really good king cake, I'm not driving out of my way to get it.
No,
I don't.
And I don't even think.
enough.
I was trying to explain to Maddie what the king cake was. She'd never heard of one, but I don't think they put the baby in the king cake anymore.
No, it comes with it, and you have to insert it.
Yeah, because people were choking out.
Lawsuit issues.
Yeah. Jaden Smith certainly turned some heads at the Grammys red carpet Sunday night. Not like Kanye's wife did.
Boy, hey, that's a wild story, though.
I didn't hear the whole story. No.
Apparently, they were not invited.
Okay.
So
not true. He was nominated.
Well, I mean,
I don't think you can be nominated and not invited.
Well, why is it being reported he wasn't invited? Was that just a false report?
I don't know why that's being reported. But
were they asked to leave? Is that true?
They were asked to leave after she, took the jacket off
and was naked.
Well, I know Friday is work naked from work day or whatever.
Right, that's what she was doing.
But that's illegal, right? You can't walk around naked.
Was she naked or a bodysuit?
No, she was
naked.
naked.
She was naked. A really, really see-through dress.
No, it was a piece of mesh, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
She was basically naked, but not really.
Yeah, and didn't mind people. I mean, she just stood there for a very long time and allowed people to take photos.
Yeah.
There's no mystery.
She could pull it off.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting. Anyway, back to Jaden Smith and his time at the Grammys last night. Now, the actor and rapper wore a black suit and a tie to the red carpet, but added one eye-popping accessory to his ensemble. The miniature black house that you see that he wears on his head here. Now, a circle was cut in front of the castle for his face to appear through it. Jaden attended the Grammys red carpet with his sister Willow, who was nominated for 2 Grammys. Why do you upstage your sister by wearing this stupid thing? I mean, she's the one that's nominated.
What's going on there?
It doesn't really.
He's wearing a house.
Well, I see that, Tyler. I just wonder if there's meaning behind it. You just told me Kanye was invited. I thought you could answer this too.
No, Jaden Smith's just weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying.
But if he's nominated for the Grammys and you want to be a weirdo, that's fine. But why you upstage your sister?
Yeah, why you're a weirdo when your sister's
because he doesn't get much attention anymore.
Yeah.
And he needs to restart that career. Like they're remaking The Karate Kid and bringing back the Jackie Chan that was in the movie he was in. Not bringing back Jaden Smith.
Wearing a house on your head probably ain't going to do that.
Maybe because he can't act.
Could be it.
I would agree with that, Lance.
Why don't he just sit back and spend his old man's money?
I would agree with that too. But he wants to be like a spiritual leader.
So a New York man claims that cashiers at an Aldi store, which I've never been to an Aldi, ALDI, we've got one over on Highway 280. My man Bo was telling me you need to check it out. I think it was Bo that said that.
I can't remember if I've been in one or not.
I've never been in it.
I think my wife has bought stuff from there, but I don't know that I've been in it.
They're pretty solid. You just have to remember to bring a quarter to use a shopping cart.
Well, that is true. I try to avoid the shopping cart when I go to stores. I try to have so few pieces that I don't need
and
the
I
shopping
don't understand it. The Sprouts place charges you for a bag.
Oh, yeah. They charge you for plastic bags.
Can you bring your own bag?
I don't know.
I would think so. Yeah. I know at Aldi you can.
So anyway, they refused to accept $2 bills, believing them to be counterfeit. Now, resident Roger Steiger recounted his frustrating experience at the Aldi store in a post on the, quote, uncensored Sullivan County, New York News and Politics Facebook group on Monday, January 27th. I bet they bitch about everything. Now, according to Steiger, cashier outright rejected his legal tender, and another employee doubled down, refusing to even check the bills with a counterfeit detection pen. Probably in your age range, have you ever seen a $2 bill in the wild?
Yeah, I've seen one.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's just not something you come across a lot unless you're a Clemson fan, right?
I've never used one. Clemson fans do.
So anyway, they dismissed the $2, and this dude was really pissed off.
When did the $2 bill pop into circulation? I feel like it was
70s.
Susan B. Anthony,
late
right? 70s
or early 80s?
Was it the Susan B. Anthony? She's on the $2 bill. Am I right?
It was the $1 bill.
Oh, was that the one that was the coin?
$2 bill.
The $2 bill was printed from 1862 to 1966, and
so
then they
before the
stopped
70s.
and
then
started
brought back.
printing in 1976.
Oh, okay.
76. So they brought it back for the bicentennial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's on the $2 bill, Tyler?
That would be Jefferson.
Oh, TJ.
Yep.
I wonder if he thought that was a good deal back then. Well, I don't guess he was alive, was he?
I mean, the $2 bill makes more sense than the dollar bill now, right?
Just because almost nothing's
what
a
can
dollar?
you get for a dollar? Like, you can't really get much for two.
But just think that for Jefferson, he was the second president, right? So you went Washington 1, Jefferson 2.
Or Adams was second.
Oh, he was? So why did he get the $2 bill? Just to double up Washington?
It's a good question.
They were like, we ain't
Twice
putting
his
Adams
value?
on it. Maybe Adams was disliked. Maybe he was not a good president. Bad approval rating. So they brought TJ back and put him on the $2 bill.
Yeah. I think I would have held out for a $3 bill.
I tell you, we're going to tap.
Can you believe they used to have $500 and $1,000 bills?
I never saw them, but I do remember them having that. What was it? Do we have a $10,000 bill? I think we had that one time.
I thought 1,000 was what we capped, but maybe.
Maybe it was just Monopoly. Or the Game of Life. I think the
Yeah,
Game
but
of
I would
Life had
think a
$10,000.
$500 bill is actually worth more than $500, right? Because you can't find them.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you found a $500 bill, like its value, like if you sold it on the open market.
Do you
there's no
think
telling.
would you have a problem rolling into Target with a $500 bill today?
Yeah,
And buying
nobody's going to
groceries?
believe that.
The $500 bill had Chief Justice John Marshall at first, and then they switched it over to William McKinley.
Okay.
I see here anything from $16,000 for a $5 bill to $2,500, depending on the quality of the bill, what year it was, all those things.
And what does it top out at?
Well, 16,000 is what somebody's asking, but I don't, that doesn't mean that's what they're going
I'd
to
get
get.
my 500s up for 16,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah. We used to have the United States no longer issues bill larger than denominations such as 100 is where we top out now. Is that right?
Yep.
500, 1,000, 5,000, and $10,000 bills at one point.
And boy, that would suck to drop a $10,000 bill, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
right.
But there's always that one guy when we're settling. I mean, we play for nothing on the golf course. But there's always that one guy that's got 100. Hey, I owe Jim 6. You have change for 100? I was like, hell no. If I had change for 100, we'd be playing more than 50 cents a hole.
I'll get you next time, man. I promise I'll get you next time.
But we'd have one guy to be like, hey, I know I owe $8, but can you break this $1,000 bill?
Do you think like McKinley is on the $500 bill? I bet he thought that was a big deal. Like, I'm on the $500 bill. And
What
then he
about
never said
Grover
this.
Cleveland? He's on the $1,000 bill.
Yeah.
But here's what I don't get. Back then, you could buy a lot of shit for $100. Why did you need 500 or 1,000?
that was
now
like to
you
buy a
can't-
house.
You can't get a lot for $100.
Yeah.
Like the 500 or the $1,000 bill would make a lot more sense now if people are using,
I guess
legal
because
tender,
this
which
still would have been tied to the gold standard, and still would have been like almost like a promise to give you X amount of gold.
Yeah. By the way, highest denomination of U.S. currency ever was the $10,000 bill. And who do you think the picture was on there?
Well, I'm looking at it
Donald
right
Trump.
now. You could guess the rest of the day and you wouldn't get this one.
Oh, then I will go.
I'm gonna go with Taft.
You are incorrect.
Garfield.
You are incorrect.
Yeah, you would need to go with somebody who basically would have the attitude of the Hurleys. If I'm the $10,000 bill and I'm the Secretary of Treasury, I think I'll put my picture on there.
That's right. Salmon P. Chase. Or Salmon, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Chase Bank, I assume, is his namesake
I
there.
assume that's the Chase Bank comes from him.
Yeah,
now.
they did well in life.
Yeah, he was like, $10,000 bill. Who should we put on there? Any objections to me?
That's right. It's my idea, guys.
Yeah.
Upcoming IRS auction set to feature items once owned by Tekashi 6ix9ine, who was reported last April to have his Florida residence raided by federal agents. Now, the online posting from the Florida-based market auctions has been making the rounds on social media this week, with live bidding on the pieces slated to begin on March 5th. Items pictured on the auction site include multicolor enamel grills, a Bruce the Shark pendant. That was the shark from Finding Nemo, right?
That is correct. Yeah, $100,000 for that, by the way.
Jigsaw pendant, a stupid world champs ring, a Cartier watch, a bunch of other stuff, multiple plaques commemorating gold and platinum certifications from the RIAA are also part of the auction. In December of 2023, news broke out that the auctioning off of the 6ix9ine related items was imminent due to the multi-million-dollar judgment in connection with a lawsuit accusing him of hitting a woman with a champagne bottle. By April of the following year, his home had been raided, resulting in multiple items being seized. Then in July, TMZ reported that 2 luxury vehicles previously owned by 6ix9ine, specifically a Lamborghini and a Bentley, had been sold at an auction.
It's not my kind of auction right there. The diamond-studded Bruce the Shark pendant. Probably not going to make my shopping cart there.
Man, if I saw that on the ground, I'd probably just kick it.
I think I would too. Like, that's ugly.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it was worth that. Not at all. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, the great service and low rates make the process so easy. And speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
And our overtime today with Brock Huard, brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Brock's joining us now to talk about Ryan Grubb. Champy's Chicken is there for you at lunch. It's been open an hour now. Also for your tailgates when you're watching the Super Bowl this Sunday. Get the great food from Sterling and the crew right there at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Absolutely fantastic Southern fried chicken, brined overnight and cooked to order. You can't beat it. It's Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. If you missed it, Ryan Grubb, according to reports, including Yay, Alabama, the first reported, on his way to Alabama to reunite with Kalen DeBoer.
So a guy that has great experience watching Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer work together is our guy, Brock Huard. He's had family members play there. He played at Washington, of course. Had family members play there. Has watched the Seattle sports scene for quite a while. From Fox and one of the highest-rated sports shows in America there in Seattle is Brock Huard. What is up, my friend? How are you?
I was curious how you're going to transition me from trash, but I guess Champy's is right there for us with the fried chicken. So thank you.
There's always an ad for a transition.
You know, it was
no question about it.
Was it almost a year ago when you were like, "Hey, man, Alabama fans should be excited because the whole band seems like they're coming together," and Ryan Grubb came for a minute. And then he decided to go to Seattle. But now it looks like they have reunited. I don't think this is a big surprise to you. Let me ask you first and foremost, what happened? What went wrong in Seattle with Mike McDonald and Ryan Grubb?
Yeah, I think just time on task together. That was going to be very difficult to replicate. I'll give you 3 reasons eventually here. I'll answer that question, Lance. And I got 3 reasons why I do think the college game is a better fit for Grubb. But it was about a year ago, and we were just chatting about it on our show this morning in Seattle, as they have now rounded out their offensive staff. And Clint Kubiak has brought his O-line coach and brought his quarterback coach from New Orleans, and they stayed in the tree, and how important that familiarity is with one another, especially in that Kubiak scheme where it's not about volume, but it's about attention to detail. And it is so important for those guys to all be on the same page. A year ago, we were kind of excited in Seattle. Here comes Mike McDonald, and Mike McDonald did the very anti-NFL thing. He basically brought no one with him that he had any relationships with, and just kind of handpicked in his mind people with a growth mindset, people that had ingenuity, folks that had had some success and background doing things their way with a lot of conviction. And Ryan Grubb checked a lot of those boxes, man. What he did in Seattle 2 years with Kalen and Michael Penix was extraordinary. What he did at Fresno State with Jake Hayner and some other pieces, pretty remarkable. What he did with Kalen along the way in other spots, very productive. And a year ago, we were kind of excited to see how that would work at the NFL level. 12 months later, I don't think we were disappointed. It was truly one of those things where there just was not fit and alignment. And there was not that time on task. And I don't think that Mike McDonald was going to spend the next few years trying to grow in continuity and familiarity with Ryan Grubb, and instead kind of went the NFL route, bringing a Clint Kubiak in that is very, very aligned with his system and what he wants to do.
When he shows up back on the college game, he doesn't have Michael Penix and he doesn't have 3 NFL wide receivers. He may have 1 or 2 in Tuscaloosa, but the talent's not going to be the same. When it comes to the X's and O's, though, how different do you think what Alabama wants to do with Ryan Grubb reunited with Kalen DeBoer is going to look like compared to what they did last year, Brock?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think like volume of playbook and everything, it'll be – I think the players will have heard a lot of these plays, a lot of these schemes, a lot of what they've all done together. And, I do remember Lance saying to you guys very clearly last year, like, this is best case for Bama because you're not getting one guy to fill the void of Saban. You are getting Grubb. You are getting Huff, right? You're getting DeBoer. You're getting all of them together. I texted with Kalen this morning. I know he's super excited to get Ryan Grubb back because he's built for the college game. To answer your question, Jim, there very explicitly, I don't think it'll be a dramatic, whoa, where did that come from? Wow, that's so new. The motions, the shifts, the pre-snap stuff, the check with me, a lot of things they tried to do, didn't do really efficiently last year. Those are things that, once again, you'll see this time around with Ryan.
Brock Huard is with us from Fox Sports, and I would ask you, I think Seattle finished 28th in the league rushing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Brock, somewhere in there.
Correct.
How would you describe Ryan, in a perfect offense, Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer's commitment to the run game?
Yeah, I think in a perfect offense, it is what do we do best? How do we maximize that? And use all of our background together within our scheme to bring out what our guys do best. The NFL level is a little different because it's best on best everywhere, right? Yep. I mean, there just is not. I remember late in the season, even Ryan Grubb was speaking to this in Seattle. You don't in the college game, you can find the weak prey. You can devour certain opponents on their personnel that are broken down. The NFL is not like that. NFL, everybody is good, and it's so much about trying to attack scheme. So I think with the Grubb and with Kalen now being back together and just all of the confidence they have. When this news was announced, when Lance texted me yesterday with it, and the first play that came to my mind was the game I was on, an Apple Cup, a 4th down at their own 27, where Cam Ward was on the other side and Wazoo had gained momentum, and they did not want to punt the ball back with less than 2 minutes to play and put it in their defense's hands. So what do they call? They call a reverse end around to Roma Dunze on 4th down at their own 27-yard line. And when I've asked both men about it, and Kalen in particular, I said, man, if I could have been in the headsets, because I was like Tony Romo for a rare occasion in the booth. I was just babbling, and I couldn't believe what I just saw. How's that possible? How do you make that call in that moment with the playoffs on the line, the Heisman on the line, all these things, and you're going to call an end around reverse at your own 27? And Kalen's like, yeah, Brock, it was really not that hard. Right? He's like, Ryan said to me, what do you think about this? And I said to Ryan, I love it. It's got our best players involved. There's options for it. Penix could have handed it off, could have kept it. I could have checked out of it. I love it. Go for it. And they call and run it and execute it and win that game and go to the playoffs, win a playoff game, and Penix runner up for the Heisman. And literally, if that play backfires, and it, some of the plays did at Bama last year offensively, quite a few of them, and it blows up, they don't go to the playoff. I don't know if Kalen DeBoer's coach at Alabama, frankly. Honestly, the magnitude of that call and what it meant to so many in their careers, and behind the scenes, it was yeah, we're good. I got it. I like it. Go for it. So that play really came to my mind as those two will be reunited now down in Tuscaloosa.
So, Brock, this isn't important really, but I don't think Alabama fans have gotten used to Kalen DeBoer's personality, his demeanor.
Yep.
And, you know, a lot of that's probably 9-4 too. But Ryan Grubb, what is he like as a personality?
Yeah, Lance, I'm glad you bring that up because here's my 3 reasons why Ryan Grubb is more suited for the college game in my mind than being around it for the last year in the NFL. Number 1, he's better suited when he is paired with the people he has familiarity with. That time on task, decades together, and the speed of trust that comes from that, number 1. Number 2, I think schematically, the defenses you see at the college game, everything that I just said about this scheme, picking apart the weakness and the prey and finding the weakest animal and devouring it, they've done it for decades and done it at a high level. And then thirdly, and most importantly, is the personality. I think that there was at times a challenge coaching 25 to 35-year-old men because you coach them differently with guaranteed contracts than you do 17 to 22-year-olds. Now, they're making a lot of money, and there's a lot of contracts those guys now sign in college too. But from a personality standpoint, he can be gruff, he can be challenging, he can have a conviction, and in some ways, he can play the bad cop to Kalen DeBoer's good cop. You guys have been around him. There's not a lot of bad cop in Kalen DeBoer, right? There's just, he is as salt of the earth as South Dakota as you're going to get. Ryan Grubb, he may have some of those same backgrounds and traveled some of the same paths, but he's got an ego to him. He's going to be on that practice field, and he is going to be speaking to those guys up front like an old O-line coach and strength coach does, which is where he cut his teeth before he became a coordinator. He's the one whose voice you will hear. He's the one that's got a demonstrative way about him that a Nick Sheridan just carries differently, and a Kalen carries differently. When Pete Carroll lost Ken Norton to the Raiders, like in 16-17, the Seahawks missed the absence of Ken Norton's bark. He was the bad cop to Pete's good cop on the field. I think you will feel an intensity and you will feel a passion and you will hear Ryan Grubb in ways that you may not have heard a coach last year on that offensive side.
All right. Buying stock in more ass chewings at practice.
That's
okay,
right.
It's
going to be up. It's going to be up.
I've just done that. Okay, you've been a quarterback in a quarterback room before that's had a coaching change. If I'm Ty Simpson or Austin Mack, and then Keelan Russell, who's coming into 3 quarterbacks that'll be battling here, it really isn't like a clean slate, though, right? I mean, Ty Simpson has banked some credit with this coaching staff, and now Ryan Grubb's going to trust what these guys tell him about Ty Simpson. It's not a clean slate for Ty Simpson, right? He's got some credit, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. And Ty's gonna realize this guy coaches really hard. So, you know, it's not just those O-linemen that he's barking at and he's chewing. He has a very, very high demand factor. A little different with the 35-year-old Geno Smith, but yeah, the way that he challenged that room, I know that firsthand from my nephew being in that room with Michael Penix. He is unafraid to share his opinion. I think for him, you know, this is a chance to go back to the college game where he flourished. And it wasn't as if Ryan Grubb took a big ego hit. They went 10-7. Geno threw for over 4,000 yards and 70% completion. JSN had a breakout year. They did a lot of things offensively pretty darn well, and they won 10 games. So this was not like an abject failure by any means with Ryan Grubb at the NFL level. I think this is just him going back to a sweet spot, and not surprisingly, it's with Kalen in Alabama.
So more regular season wins next year, Seattle or Alabama?
Oh, I think Seattle's a pretty good spot. I think Seattle's going to fix some things up front, the way that defense played in the second half of last year. And, yeah, I think they won 10 last year. I don't know why they'd win less than 10. Is Bama going to win 10 regular season games next year?
Hey, Vegas has got the total at 8.5. Can you imagine if DeBoer goes 8-4 in the regular season?
I cannot, no.
Yeah, I'll take Alabama in that bet. If you know anybody that makes a good bottle of wine, we can put a good bottle of wine on it.
That sounds good. It's been too long. It's good to see you boys. And I think this is good news for Alabama. I can't imagine an Alabama fan that heard that news yesterday and went, oh, crap. I would imagine an Alabama fan said, good. Now I get to see the band, right, playing together again, right? Because those guys made some pretty good music for a lot of years together, and they'll get an opportunity to do so again.
You see him on Fox at Seattle. Brock and Salk do one of the highest rated sports radio shows in all of America on 710 Sports there. And he is a good friend of ours as well. Brock Huard, thank you for the time. Have a great week.
Hopefully I'll see you in Birmingham, UFL, right around the corner.
Yeah. Let us know when you're coming in. Yeah, you always got a spot
You
here.
know, everybody talks about these Chiefs doing something never done before, winning 3 in a row. I think them Stallions already did that. So,
That's right.
Yeah.
Going for number 4.
Go for the 4.
All right, boys. Great to see you.
All right, you too, buddy. Thank you. That is Brock Huard with us on the hiring of Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, that's just a business idea. We need to come up with a 4 something, because if the Chiefs win, Pat Riley's already got 3-peat. We need to come up and trademark a 4 something, just in case the Chiefs are doing it. They're going to make a run for it. We can make some money.
You don't think somebody's already done it, though?
4, nah, man. Who's won 4 in a row?
Yeah.
4-peat does not roll off the tongue.
No, but that's probably the first thing we should buy.
4-peat. Let's start from there. Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
Because if the Chiefs do win Sunday, and I know a lot of people don't think they will, but if they do, they will be going for that.
Yeah.
So
I said it last year at this time. There is 0 chance they win 3 in a row.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So now they're a favorite to win.
It ain't a 0 chance, I tell you that.
There's no way they win 4 in a row.
Can you imagine if your life was on the line?
Yeah,
you're cuffed to a chair and you're going down.
It's down to 60 minutes.
Would you want to watch the game or not?
Nope. Just let me know. If you show up with a gun or if you show up with a key, I'll know who won.
Yeah. How bad were you screaming for that first down? He made it. That's a first down. Josh got there. All right. Appreciate Brock. A little overtime for you there. Thanks to Champy's Chicken. Thanks to you guys. We're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget all the programming on our video platforms. Go check that out. Podcast at Apple and Spotify. And until next time, God bless you and God bless America. We'll see you tomorrow.